What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode and live stream of Let's Get Nuts here on the Ben Thomas Show on Sundays, of course. Thanks for coming back, guys. We have a huge panel of folks here with me today, just having some fun, getting nuts on a Sunday. We're going to talk entertainment news, of course. I've got a little bit of Superman stuff I want to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about Sydney Sweeney and her transformation, as well as so much Hot Toys news, Jazzinc Catwoman, and all of the good stuff, of course. But if you're new to the channel, please don't forget, hit the like button for me just to drive some traffic into the show. It's always appreciated. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show. And of course, let's get nuts.
What are you doing? You're completely outnumbered here. Are you nuts? You want to get nuts? You want to get nuts?
You want to get nuts?
You want to get nuts? You want to get nuts? Come on. Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
Alrighty, welcome back, everybody. Let's bring up our first panelist. We haven't seen this man in a while, and some might say he's dreamy. Some might call him Dean the Dream. He's back from Collecting Weekly, Mr. Dean the Dream. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you, man.
God, I love that intro.
Yeah, it gets me
so
jazzed
good.
up for it. That's awesome. I'm glad you like it, buddy. How's things going? I haven't seen you since, I guess, last week there, so...
Yeah, everything's going pretty good. Haven't really seen. It's been NYCC this week. I haven't really seen anything that's like blown me away, which is
Same, actually,
kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
I'm always like, okay, like yeah, I guess that's cool, but other than that, you know, nothing to complain about.
There's a couple things we'll pull up on the show sheet today that I've seen that I think is kind of fun, worth mentioning, but I agree. Like, normally it's, 6 scale galore potentially, and I haven't felt that quite yet. And we're also in that kind of tight squeeze to the end of the year now, so, like, maybe they're trying to not overpromise and just get everything out, right? So.
Yeah, just eke by till the next year.
For sure. Dude, good to have you here, man. Thanks so much for popping in. Definitely appreciate it. Make sure you say hi to Kevin there for us as well if he pops up.
Oh, yeah, he's over here.
He's hanging out. Good to see it. We have another great panelist here with us. Some trip over his name, honestly, when he pops up into the panel, because I always want to say it's 6 scale collector, but no, it's Mike, 6th scale collector, back again. Good to see you, buddy. How are you doing today on this fine, nutty Sunday?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's funny you say that. That's actually the whole reason why I picked that name, was to watch people stumble over it. I figured that's one way to make sure people remember it for the next time. So it definitely works on a lot of people, so you're not the only one. But yeah, man, I'm doing good. It's been a nice fall weekend here in Ohio. It's sun's out. It's nice cool weather. It's been good, man. How are you?
Dude, honestly, so good. Yesterday was like a 20 degree day, which at this time in October just usually means from the mountains we're getting what's called a Chinook. And it's like all of a sudden it'll go from cold temperatures to warm, like t-shirt barbecue weather. And that was yesterday, so I got outside, got some fresh air. And it's funny, anytime somebody says sun's out, I want to, like say guns out, because I was on a vacation once. And there was these bro dudes hanging out around the pool. And they were trying to get each other's attention, right? They're muscular dudes. And they're like, bro, Tom, bro, sun's out, guns out, bro. Sun's out, guns out, bro. And but his friend wasn't listening, so he said it like 15 times. And it was like, so ever since somebody says sun's out, I'm like, I go back to those bro dudes at the side of the pool. But either way, good to see you, man. Thanks for being here, for sure. We got to bring the money to the stream today. We haven't seen the guy in a couple, maybe it was there 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. We haven't seen him in 2 whole weeks. Last week we were poor. This week we are rich. We got Eddie Money Mendez back in the show with us, getting nuts on Sunday. Good to see you, buddy. How's it going?
I like how you were pretending that wasn't you. That wasn't you out there saying something.
Sounds good, bro. Sounds okay.
Katara told us, okay, you don't have to lie. She said she already sold you out, bro.
That was Ben. He's a bro dude.
Yeah, good to see you guys. Man, I'm doing good. I'm just tired. I don't know how nutty it's gonna get for me. I guess that's pretty typical though. I got soda though, so I got a little caffeine, but it's gonna be
sometimes
lightly...
catching you on a tired Sunday. Sometimes we get those hot takes out of you a little bit. You're more willing to just let the steam out.
We're not talking about Joker today, so I think I'm gonna be pretty mellow. Be pretty laid back, but good to see this panel, man. You got some awesome guys on this panel. This is a good chillax Sunday panel, man.
I'm a lucky guy having all these folks here to support the show. 100%, dude. And it's funny because you said that Mike and I look similar. You think we could be brothers? Let us know in the chat if you guys think Mike could be my American brother. It's possible.
Guns out, bro.
Guns out. My dad got around a little bit when he was younger. You know what I'm saying?
Wow!
Oh, wow.
I got nuts.
Oh, no.
No, good to see you, Eddie. I'm glad you're here, man. Thanks for popping in. We haven't had somebody from across the seas here in a while, and he finally got his display out. He used to show up with a black background and it'd be super mysterious, but now his collection is reigning supreme. We've got Pete from Only Fools and Collecting, our British correspondent, here with us again. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for coming in.
Hey everyone, good to be here. Regards to my brethren across the pond in the US and Canada. I miss streaming, and we haven't decided when we're coming back yet. But I try and get on here every now and again just to keep my hand in. But looking forward to the show.
Flowing,
Exactly. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. Right. Well, and it's funny, chat, because a lot of people didn't know was joining in today, and so as the panelists were slowly progressing, and they're like, "Oh, hey Eddie, what's going on? Oh, hey Mike, what's up, buddy? Dean, we fucking love you, buddy." And then Pete joins, and everybody's like, "Oh, Pete's here. Okay, it's gonna be a good Sunday then." So
I'll take that.
Love to see it. Yeah. Love to see it. Good to see it, buddy. Thanks for coming in. We got one final addition to the show today. He's now starting to become a bit of a weekly or regular here. You love to see it. Sometimes he looks a little bit like Logan. Sometimes he looks a little bit like Wolverine. Today he looks like Cowboy Wolverine. You love to see it. Good to see you back, buddy.
Hey,
X-Men
what's
Supreme,
up, y'all?
Good to see you, bud. How are you doing, man?
Hey, good to see you guys. My dumb ass. I'm sitting there, where's the link? Where's the link? And it's like 3 messages above. I'm like, dude.
Bold letters, link.
Yeah, hey, you love to see it.
Noob.
Hey, it's great to see you guys, though. Pete, I haven't streamed with you, but it's good to see you, sir. I've seen you on a lot of streams.
You too. Nice
great
to
to
meet
be
you.
here talking with you. Dean, sir, always a pleasure to see you on screen. Mike, how you doing? And last but not least, certainly, Eddie, Money Mendez. Dude, good to see you. Good to see you. Ben, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Your Suns Out, Guns Out guy sounds a little bit like Cartman, man. He's gonna like, Suns Out, Guns Out, man. Hey, man.
Suns Out, Guns Out. 100%. I might have Cartman wearing off on me a little bit because I've been watching South Park when I go to sleep at night and like having it auto turn itself off. So it's possible.
Hell yeah,
it's
dude.
Possible. Also, loving the shirt. That is Brooke Artemis's
yes, thank you. This is,
show, right?
I gotta tell you, this is the softest shirt. Woo, this shirt feels good. I'm about to live in this shirt. Man, this feels nice.
Yeah. Where he's making them. I need to find out where he's getting them made because I've been using TeePublic for my merch lately, and honestly, like I've never been totally a very big fan of their stuff all that much.
Their
But maybe he's getting
right.
the premium
It's
quality.
all right.
So.
It might be because they got different grades, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I should get. You know what? I will invest. I will get all of you guys a Let's Get Nuts shirt here at some point because I've only made one so far, and I shrunk it. Now it looks like a belly top on me, and nobody wants to see that. Honestly, let's be honest.
You gotta wear it.
Yeah, no. it's literally to like here. It shrunk real bad. Guys, we have a big show planned for you today. Thank you to all the panelists being here. Thank you to the 30 folks already in the live show. I see you guys. We'll say hello to you as usual here in a couple minutes after our warm-up. But I want to get started today with this. This blew me away. 30 years ago, 1994, the month of October, these 3 movies were playing in theaters, which is wild to me. Like, I can't believe it's already been 30 years, but also like some heavy hitters in comparison to even kind of what's in our box office right now. I think the Terrifier 3 right now is actually reigning supreme, if I'm not mistaken, which is kind of wild. So we've come a long way, but in this sense, these are freaking awesome movies. I was curious for you guys, what's your favorite movie on here? If you had to pick, what would be your number one? What would be one maybe you would eliminate from consideration? Dean, start with you, buddy. What's your favorite here?
Let's see. Man. This is a tough one. If I had to pick one to watch like for the rest of my life, I think I'm going Forrest Gump on this one.
Yeah. Okay.
Pulp Fiction is a close second. I guess I would get rid of Shawshank.
Fair.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta have a Quentin Tarantino film. I think that's like.
It's a good one too. And like, I know Bruce Willis isn't gone, but I miss his presence in films because I love Bruce Willis. I was a big Bruce Willis guy. Sucks that he's not able to communicate the way he once had, but he's awesome in that movie too, in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, I mean Sam Jackson, fucking what's his face?
John Travolta.
John Travolta.
Oh yeah,
thank
John
you.
Travolta. Yeah.
Uma Thurman. I mean, this movie's so stacked, but you got to be like in the mood for it. I feel like you could just turn on Forrest Gump anytime and it's good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, I'm picking Forrest Gump.
Absolutely. Katera's brother is actually named Forrest. So every time I see the guy, it reminds me of the film. And personality is not similar at all. But yeah.
Wow.
I
he
don't
like to
know.
run?
I've never met a person. He does not. Well, maybe. He might. He might. He's got a lot of dogs, and so he may run with them. Yes. Definitely possible.
You can't set me up like this, dude.
I'm sorry. Eddie, I'll go with you then. What's your number one here? What's one that would you eliminate if you had to?
I think I gotta go with Dean too. I think I gotta go Forrest Gump's number one because I love Shawshank. I think that's my second, and I love Quentin Tarantino too. But I didn't start watching Quentin Tarantino films until I was already an adult, maybe even late 20s, because I never grew up with any of them. My mom wasn't a big Tarantino fan, so we never watched them. But I love them, and I love Pulp Fiction. But I think, out of just classic nostalgia, it's hard to choose between Shawshank and Forrest Gump. They're both pretty iconic and have some iconic lines, but I think just there's way more iconicness from Forrest Gump so I'd have to go with that one.
Totally makes sense. Well said. Well said. Mike, if you had to pick one, which would you choose?
Yeah, I'm kind of in line with the guys here. There's no bad film here, right? But yeah, I would probably get rid of Shawshank. For me, you got to keep Pulp Fiction because that, for me at my age, that kind of defines films of my generation. So you can't overlook that. But Forrest Gump's probably the one I would put first. It's just such an emotional roller coaster, right? I mean, and there's so much good stuff in that film. If it's a desert island thing, you don't want to keep watching Pulp Fiction, man. That'll drive you crazy. But I feel like Forrest Gump, you can get by with it. So yeah, I'd stick with Forrest Gump.
Can't go wrong with Tom Hanks either. For me, he's one of my favorite actors of all time for sure. Even I don't know if you guys remember the movie Castaway. I used to love that movie back in the day because it would make me both happy and cry all at the same time. It was wild. But I also went to a restaurant in downtown, or not, right on the pier in San Francisco when I visited there a few years back. I went to Bubba Gump Shrimp Gump Restaurant.
I went there.
Bubba Gump's.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was really good. I enjoyed it. I had a good experience, and I liked all the different things you could hold up I think it was what is it? Not badminton, but I think is it badminton? Not badminton.
Ping
sorry.
pong.
Table tennis.
Ping pong, table tennis. Yeah, you could hold up a paddle if you needed service and stuff. Some great
And they had
stuff.
the movie just ran on the screen just continuously. Yeah.
What would you choose here, Pete?
Yeah, I think again, it's a bit of a bad rap for Shawshank. I would ditch that only because I think it's a fantastic movie, but a lot of it's, once you know the story, once you know the ending and stuff, it kind of loses a little bit. For me, again, it's like a head versus heart. Head says Pulp Fiction, heart says Forrest Gump, and I agree with the guys here that if you want to just sort of sit down, have a pretty relaxing, emotional ride, Forrest Gump is great. Love Forrest Gump. But Pulp Fiction is my favorite. Sam Jackson, I just feel like it's definitely his greatest performance in any movie, and possibly of anybody ever. It's just so iconic. And Ving Rhames is great as well. Yeah, and gonna get to work on this motherfucker with a blowtorch and a pair of pliers.
Love to see it. Love to see it. If it was Shane, he would have sworn in the first 5 minutes and demonetized us. So thank you for waiting to 15 minutes. We appreciate you. Well said, Pete. Well said. We have a guest in our panel here, or not in our panel, in our chat. just wanted to say a special shout out to SpongeBob SquareBalls, Mr. Classy Thomas. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Hey, boys, happy Nut Day. Happy to see you in the chat as always. Yeah, man. Hope you're feeling better soon. We're excited to get you back and hear about some of those trials and tribulations you have gone through, because it sounds like you're a tough man over there, good sir. But we miss you here getting nuts on a Sunday. I would say for me, and before I go to Dave, I would agree with you, Pete. Pulp Fiction, I think, would be the one that I would watch pretty consistently. Well, Mike did make a good point about it driving you crazy if it was like a desert island kind of scenario. There's so much going on in that movie that I enjoy it every single time I see it, and I almost always catch something different. I love Forrest Gump. I think that would be my second. I've always thought a little bit, and maybe I'll lose fans for this, but I've always thought Shawshank Redemption was a little on the overrated side. It's a great movie. It's a great film. I love the story. But after I watched it, I think probably 3 times in total, it was good. I didn't feel like I needed to really ever see it again. So while I understand it's good, and I lost 3 people watching immediately as I said it, Eddie, you hate to see it. Eddie probably is going to leave the chat here shortly.
Is it still number 1 on IMDb?
It's up there. It's definitely up there.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's at now. Let us know in the chat, guys, if anybody knows. But Dave, what would you say? Am I crazy for thinking that, or where are you at, bud?
Well, here's the thing about me. I am not a film buff. My fandom in movies is a pretty narrow range. I'm gonna say
mostly Wolverine movies.
You know, if it's got Wolverine, it's a hit. It needs all the Oscars. Just done deal. Enough said. But I've never watched Shawshank Redemption. Never saw it. And it's weird. It's like one of those. For me, it's one of those. It's one of those glitch in the Matrix moments, because I'm shocked to realize that this movie came out at the same time as Pulp Fiction and Forrest Gump. Because I remember hearing this name when I was, around that time when I was a kid, thinking, wow, that's like a really old movie. The name just sounds like a really old movie to me. I'm like, this is like back in the 60s or 70s. I don't care about that. And I'm the same way with Anne Hathaway. When I first heard her name, I'm like, oh, she was on Golden Pond, right? No, man. like I don't know what it is. Maybe maybe I shifted dimensions or something. I don't know. I remember Lincoln Park being in high school, and I got out of high school in 97. So who knows? But yeah, dude, I would have to rule out Shawshank just because I haven't seen it.
Fair enough.
I hear it's one of the greatest movies. And I don't feel like I need to watch it because I don't care. But
you need to watch it, bro. Don't listen to Ben. You need to watch it. Don't.
Yeah, look at the face of disappointment.
I can forgive your She-Hulk love because I understand.
Eddie, for you, don't understand. For you, Eddie, because you are a film connoisseur. No one else rides as hard for Batman Forever.
Hey,
forever. I trust your opinion on movies, so I will watch based off that alone. But right now, I'm gonna go with Pulp Fiction at the top because that's just too cool. It's too cool.
Hell
yeah. That's like 90s hardcore. Yeah, bro, guns out kind of. That's the thing about it, man. And Forrest Gump is great too. There's such. It's how do you pick one, But I'm going with Pulp Fiction. Forrest Gump is a very close second. They're both so quotable.
Love it. Let's move on. I feel a little bit warmed up from that. We got a couple more warm-ups. I'm curious to get what you guys are thinking on. I want to know if you would be interested in a God of War TV series, because it has been essentially restarted. It looks like here the God of War TV series starting from scratch. Showrunner and producers leave. This is through Prime Video. Now, Amazon Prime, they're responsible right now for The Lord of the Rings. I know season 1 didn't do great for fans, but season 2 has done incredibly well for fans. I think if they're hitting the reset button on this, I actually think it's probably a good thing, because hopefully they're waiting until it feels like it's quality to put it out there. I don't know who I would put in as a fan cast, really, for Kratos himself, but I've been playing God of War games since God of War 1. Freaking love them. In fact, I actually think I like the older school look to it a little bit better. God of War 2 and 3. As soon as they switched to the more new take on the PlayStation 5, it lost something a little bit for me. It's still beautiful and I still think it's great, but I liked the old kind of slash 'em up video style, and I love the story behind it. There's some amazing mythology there. So, Pete, I'd be curious for you, would you be interested in seeing a God of War show? Like, are you good with them holding off if it means better quality?
Yeah, I'd definitely watch it. I'm a bit with you. I'm a bit more old school. I played the shit out. Sorry, I keep swearing. Played the hell out of the 1 and 2, and I agree with you. It was all the Greek mythology. It was a great game. My best mate was playing at the same time, so it was like we were kind of like, oh, how do you get past this bit and everything? So it was really good. I have played this one, and I agree with you that it didn't sort of grab me as much. But I think it could make for a great TV show because there's some great, monsters and villains and bits and pieces in there, and it would look really cool. But as I say, yeah, who would you cast? I mean, the only big bald guy around is The Rock, but he's probably getting a bit. He's probably not too old for Kratos.
They're saying he wants to be Apocalypse, though, and I don't know if that's real or if that's legit. But I'm like, I can't see him as Apocalypse either. Rogue One Photography says Dave Bautista, but I haven't seen him slim down quite tremendously lately.
Skinny boy now.
Yeah, so I think he's kind of done playing these sizable characters. I think he's at the end of his rope there.
If they could get Gerard Butler to bulk up, I think he'd be good. But I don't know
he would,
if he would get the size.
He rocks a good beard, doesn't he?
Hey, that's a good choice. Yeah,
and the voice.
Yeah.
It's for a big thing for me is the Kratos voice.
Yeah.
That they need to nail, because that was actually something that I really appreciated about the Henry Cavill version of The Witcher. Was his Geralt of Rivia sounded like exactly like how Geralt sounded in The Wild Hunt, and I thought it was amazing. But he actually went through very specific voice coaching for that role, and so to me he just absolutely nailed it as a result. Dean, I know you're not a big God of War guy. In fact, I actually think that Kratos pisses you off, because I remember at one point somebody said Kratos was better than one of your favorite characters, and you were like, no. But would this be something you'd be interested in?
I like the original God of War games. I think they're a far cry from what they used to be. But I enjoy Kratos. I like him as a character. I would be curious to see, like, I don't know if you guys know who Michael Jai White is.
Yeah, name sounds.
Yeah,
he was Spawn
from.
He was Spawn, right?
Yeah, he was Spawn. Yeah, actually,
yeah, he was Spawn.
He is an incredible martial artist, and he's fucking yoked. I mean, that dude is huge. And he's also just like a really cool guy, apparently. Just from like interviews and people talking about him, like he's a really cool dude. So that'd be cool to see him kind of come back and yeah, there he is.
I could see that.
Damn, that's a great call. Wow.
That's a great pick, dude.
That dude
Shave
is
his head.
awesome.
Big beard, yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just so intimidating. He's in a couple like low budget martial art movies, and you're just like, holy shit, this dude's like super intimidating on screen. So yeah, I would like to see someone like him.
Dean, have you ever seen Blood and Bone?
I don't think so.
Dude, watch that. I don't know if it's streaming on anything, but that's, I think, my favorite movie with him in it. He's like a dude that went to prison they like framed him for killing somebody, and then he gets out and like gets revenge on whoever framed him, and it's really good, dude.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Michael.
I didn't realize he was in Dark Knight. I guess he's the mobster at the table.
Oh,
not gonna
that's right.
Not gonna have a nickel for his grandma,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't.
that's
I
right.
That's why Dean
I
likes
forgot
him so
about
much.
that. Shit, I forgot all about that.
Shut up, Mike.
Gamble. Yeah.
Gamble. That's awesome. No, that's a great pick, Dean. Absolutely, buddy. But let's move on. I'd be curious what you guys also think of this news. So this came at us from smallscreen.co. Let's be honest, no idea. Where's Jose when you need him? This could be fake news. But I'm told here, based on this clip anyways, that Venom 3 director says that Last Dance will actually be just the beginning for Knull. Now, it does sound like Tom Hardy has kind of come out and said, like, this is his literally last dance with the Venom character. And I know a lot of us were kind of like, well, why introduce Knull then? Because he's he's essentially the god of the symbiotes. Like, he's such a tremendously large character in the comics now that it seems wasted if you're just going to put him in for 18 minutes of a 2.5 hour movie. Like, it seems wasted. But I think this is actually really good news. Does this excite you guys more to watch Venom 3 then as a result? Even if maybe you didn't love the other two Venoms, but you're interested to see where this character could go. Dave, I'm going to actually start with you because you gave the hottest take on this a week or two ago on the Venom movies. So I know you don't really love them. But does this news make you want to see the third film further to see what could happen with this character?
Fucking care. Even a little bit. The Sony Venom shit, not Venom, has never been Venom, will never be Venom. Fight me, I don't fucking care. Not gonna happen for me. This is not it. Sony needs to get off their bullshit. Make a movie with Spider-Man or don't make a Spider-Man based movie. That's all I got.
Totally fair. Eddie, what would you say to this Knull character having a little bit more screen time than just the third Venom film?
I feel like they're just wasting the character. I don't have much love for the character either. Like, I haven't read that storyline. I haven't read Donny Cates' Venom. I need to read it because I actually heard it's pretty good. But
it's really good.
I haven't. So I have no like love for the character. I have nothing. I don't know anything about him. So, but it feels like it would be like throwing Thanos in to without like building it up first, right? I feel like they should have. They should have built it up like in the first two films, and it just feels like it's just shoehorned in there, and like we didn't even know he was in there until the trailer popped up, right? So I don't know. It feels like it's all over the place, you know, and they kind of just do whatever. But they're not that great at movies anyway, so I'm like whatever about it. So
yeah, I think if he's not a main character, Eddie, I think if he's not a main character, but potentially even like an after credits scene, like a build up throughout the movie, and then you realize that he is kind of pulling the strings, but you'll see him in the future. That's kind of what they did with Thanos the first couple times you saw him. He was more of like that end credits piece. And it's not until, I can't remember what movie it was. Was it Avengers? Where he gets off his throne, is like, I guess I'm going to have to do this myself sort of thing. And then we don't see Thanos again until Infinity War. So kind of what you're saying, like if people hadn't seen those end credit scenes, Thanos might have felt like he was kind of just implanted all of a sudden as well into what ended up being a pretty good movie. So if he was an end credit scene and realizing he's pulling some of the strings, but you'll see him in an upcoming whatever movie, maybe then it would create some excitement. I could see people wanting to see the film just for the end credit scene or waiting until it hits digital platforms. But what about you, Dean? What are your thoughts here? I think you said you enjoyed the Venom films for what they were, like kind of objectively, but not a huge fan either. Not a huge character.
Yeah, no.
Oh, no? Got that wrong?
Yeah, the Sony, I don't know, dude. They're like just not, they don't hit. I don't know what it is that they do over there that they just can't get their shit together, but I like Tom Hardy enough that I'll sit through the movie, but I think if it wasn't Tom Hardy, I don't know if I'd go watch those films. But I don't know anything about Knull. He looks kind of like a vampire guy, almost like some kind of Dracula. I don't know. Is that what he is? Because the symbiotes are like aliens, but
yeah, he's not necessarily. He's not like a vampire, but yeah, he's not a vampire, but he's definitely like he's kind of like a god. He's a very magical, supreme type of being, so he created the symbiotes from his sword, essentially. So and it's cool, and he controls all their mind. He like mind controls them all. Yeah, it's a very big sword. Yeah, that's true. Good clarity.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I know in a recent interview, Tom Hardy was talking about he wanted to fight Spider-Man in a movie. So I don't know if he's quite done yet, but I mean, yeah, I don't know if we necessarily need Tom Hardy as Venom to continue the plot for Knull, I guess. Mm-hmm. Right? Because the symbiote still has to go to Peter Parker at some point and then go from there. So you could almost write Eddie. He's Eddie, right? Eddie Brock?
Eddie Brock, yeah.
You could almost write him out and then continue the story from there. So that's interesting. But yeah, I don't know anything about Knull, but that being said, I didn't know shit about Thanos either.
Fair.
And I thoroughly enjoyed that. You know.
True.
So, but is Sony going to be play ball with Knull or what? So that's another thing that remains to be seen.
Also true. Also true. Can't get any worse than the Joker 2 ratings, anyways. Pete, I know you have a little bit of thoughts on Knull here and Venom. What do you think about this news?
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the first two. I think, as Dean said, Tom Hardy's a great actor, and he always puts in a great performance. And I can kind of, there's some quite funny moments in some of the movies, but yeah, really didn't land for me. And I just have no interest in watching this one at all. Again, like Dean, I never heard of Knull. If you asked me who that was, I'd say that was The Witcher in that picture, as we were talking about him before.
Dead Witcher.
Yeah. So no, I'm out on that one. But yeah,
Henry Cavill could play this role. He looks good with white
good.
hair.
Good. Yeah.
I could see it. Can you imagine? That'd be a weird alternate universe version.
Yeah.
SpongeBob Squareball says here, I wonder if some of these bad Sony Marvel films would have been better if they had been animated like the Spider-Verse. What do you guys think of that? Anybody can answer. What do you guys think of that?
They would have been better had they just hired good writers.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Hot take.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, you can't hide that behind good animation, can you? When it's badly written.
really, right? Like they say this would just be the beginning. Well, the beginning for what? For more Sonyverse stuff? Who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, like honestly, who's gonna be in Madam Web 2?
It's too bad because we're all such like nerds at heart, and we all would root for films like this to succeed. And then as they've progressively kind of just underperformed for us and like just not hit that nostalgic button like we wanted them to, it sucks to hear collectors, but also just like fans of these franchises feel that way. Because it's like, I want it to be awesome. I like this photo even just is like, okay, that's cool. Like that looks like a character I want to know more about, just like Morbius did for me. But then I didn't love Morbius and like some of these other characters, right? I'm excited to see what they do with Kraven, and I like the actor playing Kraven, Aaron Taylor Johnson. I think he's cool, but again, if it's not well written, it's gonna fall on its face. Now it does look pretty freaking bloody, that Kraven movie, I will say. So lots of love to my mom, Rachel Miller, in the chat. Love to see it. Thanks for being here. Yes, Moose, she is taken, so you can fuck right off that. All right, so love to see it.
Hey Ben, I have an idea actually, if I can.
Of course.
A thought just hit me about this whole Knull situation because, and I don't know if this is anything official, this imagery here with him having the red spider that's originally from the symbiotes. But because they talked about the whole multiversal interdimensional thing, right? In what was it, in Venom 2? They talked about that. What if, and this is the stupidest thing, so they probably will do it. What if they brought Knull in with his, big red spider, right? And said, oh, this is just like the god-like evolved form of Eddie from another dimension. Because they did some shit like that in the comics, right? So while they just say that this guy came from a whole other, part of the multiverse, this is actually Eddie Brock. But he became like the King in Black and did all that stuff. And now he's, Knull because he decided to create this mantle for himself. Now they're just doing some weird. I haven't read it in the books, but I heard about it. It sounds dumb as hell. And that sounds like the kind of stuff they might want to do in here, just to make it make some kind of sense for somebody,
I could see them.
Oh,
they have
gosh.
to try.
I hope they do
They
that.
have to try and tie it somewhere together, right? They definitely. Have
I hope
to
they
try
do
it,
that.
so.
I hope they do that so much because it's going to piss people off. It's going to be great.
Jose says, Dave, this isn't images and not official. Thank you, Jose, Mr. Fact Check. No, love to see it, buddy. That's awesome. We got Mr. What did he say? AJ Green Day. He says, I hope Venom 3 is a musical about how fans reacted to Venom 2. It would be an instant classic. Love that, dude. Love that. Let's move on. Since we got my mom in the chat, maybe she can chime in for the female voice here. Sydney Sweeney has popped up in the news this week, and not for the reasons you might think. You can see the photos on the left-hand side. She is now training aggressively for a biopic role with regards to a female boxer. And I only wanted to bring this up on Let's Get Nuts because, you know, I think for the most part, I know Eddie at first was not all a big fan of Sydney and then started to see more content of her. And I was like, okay, maybe I am a fan of her now. To be honest with you, her face drives me a little crazy. She seems like one of those people who would like be kind of just like think she's hot shit if you met her in real life. I could be wrong. Maybe she's the sweetest person ever. But I haven't been much of a fan of her other roles yet. There hasn't been anything where I've been like, oh, she was so good in that. I think the closest I felt was her character in White Lotus. But at the same time, she was that kind of character that you don't also really like either. So I would like to see her in a role where I could actually root for her a little bit more. And I think this could be one of those roles. But what do you guys think of Sydney's transformation to a more muscular bodybuilding style? Do you think that this is good for her career path?
Smash.
Dean says. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the pictures on the left. I'm not seeing those. I'm only seeing the picture on the right.
Wow. Okay. I just wrong picture to choose. I was just trying to keep the red outfits combined. You know.
Nice.
Because I know some of you guys were like, I didn't even realize that was Sydney Sweeney when you saw pictures of her this week, and I was like, that's interesting.
Have you seen Euphoria, Ben? She's amazing in this show.
Okay. Euphoria. Gotta write that one down.
But yeah, you said that she seems like she would just act like she's hot shit. She could back it up. She's hot shit. What are you talking about? She wants to fucking spit in my face and be like, thank you.
Jesus.
Yeah. She's also super down to earth. She hand built her own Ford Bronco. It's fucking badass, dude.
Oh, that's the real reason he likes it.
Dude, she talks about all the time. She's like done a bunch of photo shoots with it. It's fucking sweet.
I'm not a car guy, and that's pretty hot.
Yeah.
What if she had built a Dodge, Dean? Still the same feeling?
Yeah, no, I like Sydney Sweeney. For obvious reasons and not obvious reasons. Euphoria is a fantastic show. You should watch it. It's a little ridiculous because they're like high school students, and you're like, no one's high school is like this. This is fucking insane. But like, it's just like a good drama show. She's really good at it.
Very drug filled, I've heard, right? So,
Yeah.
for the most part, but
Yeah,
no, that sounds good.
Yeah, very.
Mr. Masashi says, because she's attractive, I would need to see her in a movie where her attractiveness wasn't used as the vehicle, main vehicle driver of the movie. I agree. That's kind of why I was interested in bringing this up as a topic. Eddie, I know you've become more of a fan of Sydney Sweeney. Is this something you'd be interested in seeing, just in terms of her breaking out into a different role? Do you want to become a fan of hers, or do you think you just like her because she's pretty? And not to put you out on the spot like that, but again, like what would be a driving factor to see this film?
She's hot, obviously, but like I like the idea of her playing a boxer. Like that would be actually the main driver. I would never go see anything just because she's hot in it. You know, like half of the stuff she's in I haven't seen, and I'm not just gonna go watch them because she's in it. True. Like Euphoria for sure. Like I know she has some hot scenes in there. Like I still haven't went to watch that show just because of that. But I don't know what changed my mind. I remember Marco was like bringing it up when she was going to be in Madam Web, and I was like, she's not that crazy. And then I don't know, something clicked. Maybe the picture on the right.
I think that was back with that was back with the Madam Web.
I've seen her in Anyone But You, or I think that's what it's called. It's like a rom-com on Netflix with
Glenn Powell.
Glenn Powell. It's pretty funny, dude. She's good. I think she's funny. And then obviously in SNL, like she's more than just her looks. That's why I'm like, you could when you watch her and stuff, you could see she's more than just her looks. Like, yeah, her looks are great, but I also like I don't dive deep into, interviews and, character stuff and, how they are as an actor, what their beliefs are, whatever, but she seems to like not mind the fact that she's really good looking and using that to her benefit as well. Like I kind of get annoyed, especially nowadays, when actresses get in their head like, oh, I'm more than just my looks. Like obviously you're more than just your looks, but that should speak for itself, like. So I like that she's kind of like not in her head too much about it. She's like, yeah, go ahead, you know, if that's what I need to play up, I'll play that up. But she's also a great actress, I think, or at least what I've seen her in. Like even in Madam Web, I didn't hate her acting in Madam Web. I just hated the story in general.
I still haven't seen
So
it. I still haven't seen it.
I feel like she'd be good in this. And I like that they're doing like more like boxing roles for women and like like telling those kind of stories is cool. You know, I like those kind of movies. So now I'm interested in it. Also, she's in one of my favorite movies of all time, and she's not a big role in it, but I didn't even know. She's in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She plays like one of the random like extras in the girls that live on the
ranch, right?
Yeah, on the ranch, right? Yeah.
Cool. I gotta see that movie. That's still been on my watch.
That one's up there, dude. You watch that one first.
Well, in terms of female like boxing films as well, one of my favorites of all time is actually the Clint Eastwood film $1 Million Baby. That was an amazing movie back in the day, and like same thing back for Hilary Swank back then. She was kind of a sex appeal, like sex icon back then, and then they put her in that movie, and she got super tough and like badass, and I loved that film. I'm excited to see what Sydney does with this. I like that what you said about the Anything But You movie, Eddie, because when I first saw that advertised, I was like, oh man, here we go, like just two hot people put in a movie and that's all it's about. And then all I've heard is that it's actually good. I actually recently watched the Glenn Powell film Hitman on, I think it was Netflix. And it wasn't the greatest story, but I did think Glenn did a really good job with his acting. So it makes me want to even explore more of his films. So we'll see. But guys, let us know in the chat, seeing Sydney's transformation here, is this something that's interesting you for her role? Are you hoping to actually be more of a fan of hers, or are you only tuning in because she's a pretty girl? Let us know what you guys think. Keep it nutty, but keep it, nice as well. Okay, let's be honest, nutty but nice. Last but not least, before we say hi to everybody here, we've got 45 to 50 people watching us live. Thank you so much for getting nuts with us on a Sunday. If you don't mind, like my friend Classy Thomas out there says, hit the like button, folks. Definitely appreciate you if you do so. Superman, DC. The James Gunn film is coming in 2025. I am getting more excited about it, honestly, the closer it gets. And we got to see an image this week of what Krypto is going to look like. I was curious, do you guys care about Krypto at all? I think Krypto is a cool character from some of the old animation that I used to watch at the animated series, as well as some of the comics. But I wouldn't say that I read a ton of Superman comics. So for me, it's more of like the appearance of him in the animated series. Mike, I saw you shake your head yes. What are your thoughts on seeing kind of a brief look at what we could be experiencing here with Superman?
Yeah, I'm with you. This is getting me excited for this movie. Superman is my top spot. He's the reason I got into all this stuff to begin with. It's no coincidence that, in the comic book world, he is looked at as, the inspiration for all the other heroes and stuff. So we need quality superhero or Superman stuff out there. And I was a huge fan of the Snyder stuff and Henry Cavill, but I'm excited to see where not only this movie goes, but if it's good, where it kind of takes the genre. I feel like the let's make superheroes real thing has kind of gone past the curve, where it's maybe too much now. When you see things, like the new Batman movie and stuff like that. I want to get back to the pulp aspect of pop culture and comic books. So the idea of having, even if it's just a random appearance of Krypto, taking it back to, those old school comic books, I think it's going to be great. I've honestly loved everything I've seen about this so far. I do have some questions on some of the suit choices, but I feel like stills on movie production suits always kind of look a little strange. So hopefully those all look a little better in live action. But yeah, I'm definitely excited for this. I look forward to it.
Great points, Mike. Totally great points. Good, Sarah. Eddie, what are your thoughts here on seeing Krypto? A little first teaser look of him sitting up on the moon with Superman above the earth.
I love Krypto. I love there was a animated show in the early 2000s called Krypto the Superdog, and I watched that a lot. I didn't watch a lot of I don't know why I didn't watch Batman animated series or other stuff, but I watched that a lot. And then obviously they had Krypto's version in Smallville. They had Krypto in the Titans on HBO. So I love Krypto. I don't know if I love the look of Krypto in this, but I was reading like he really only wrote him into the show because he recently adopted a dog, and this is I think similar looking to the dog that he adopted. So he wanted
I think it is the dog. I think it's his rescue.
It is
rescue
dog?
dog. I think it is
okay.
the dog. I'm pretty sure.
Because the dog he has is not white, so I don't know if that's makeup or whatever. But yeah, to me, I am a little bit skeptical of his DC universe only because I don't love Suicide Squad, the one that he did, and I don't. Guardians got a little bit off the rails, and so for me, like, he's a little bit like Taika Waititi. Like, I don't want him to get full of himself and think that he's amazing and then like ruin that universe. Because I do agree with Mike, like, things are too serious and they're getting a little too like real world, and I would love to see it more comic book like it's supposed to be, or like how I would like it to be. But I think there's a fine line between like too far gone and then too real. You know, because I did like the darkness of Snyder's universe. I thought it was different than what we were getting from Marvel at the time. And I think some people just weren't a fan of it, but I think it could have been done well if they let him. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still skeptical on this. I like some of the actors, but I also get annoyed when he's like, we can't use Henry Cavill, and then every actor he's hired so far is older than Henry Cavill. So it's like, Jesus, man. I don't know. I'm and also like, why are you focusing on Krypto so much? Like, I'm worried that that's too big of a idea for the movie, and you should be focusing on an actual good story instead of like, who cares if you throw in Krypto? You know what I mean? I don't know. I have a lot of worries with his films, but I guess we'll see. I'm not gonna let it like ruin it for me or anything. Like, I'll go in with an open mind. I'm still excited because I love DC, but I don't know, man.
This is some good pokes at nostalgia, I think, from James Gunn and his team, right? He knows that people are going to see this and go, "Oh, I liked Krypto," and who doesn't love a dog? You know what I mean? Even if you're not a dog owner, most people are like, "I love dogs," and like, seeing Krypto in there would be great. I do think that the darkness of Man of Steel and the Zack Snyder universe around Superman definitely came in relation to the success of The Dark Knight, right? That real world, that gritty feel to it. But I've always felt like Superman really should be more hopeful and more fun and more exciting and more bright and more vibrant and filled with hope for humanity. And I never really got that out of Cavill. Whereas, like, even though he told us all his symbol was for hope, I never got that sense from him. And I loved Man of Steel, don't get me wrong, but I am excited to see maybe a more bright and hopeful take here, a little bit more inspired by kind of that comic feel. Pete, what are your thoughts here on seeing Krypto in the photo, and are you excited about the film?
Yeah, I wasn't so much. I think when we talked about it in earlier shows, I was a bit like, I'm not fussed. But again, like Mike and Eddie have said, I think I'm encouraged by Krypto being in there because it does give it that more fantasy element and gives it sort of more space to breathe. Superman is he's an intergalactic being. It'd be good to see some stuff that's not basically centered on Earth completely. And I'm a big fan of All Star Superman. It was a comic that came out probably 10-15 years ago, and Krypto featured quite a lot in there, and I just find he's a fun character. So I think I'm quite encouraged by it. I think it gives it some space to run with some of the more fantastical elements of Superman. We're going to get the there's some really goofy odd stuff in Superman. So yeah, we could see some really interesting things.
Hell yeah. No, that's a good thought. And, it's interesting. Aunt Jemima here in the chat is saying Superman is a complicated character to tackle because he's just super overpowered. I've always thought about, like, how does he shave? How does he, like, do some of those, maintenance things, right? Like
his laser eyes.
He's laser in the
Did you
mirror.
see him do it with the mirror? Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about the mirror in the cartoon. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Good call, buddy. Good call. Well said. Well said. Dave, what are your thoughts on seeing Krypto pop up here? And then we will move on to some 6-scale news. What are your thoughts, buddy?
Firstly, is there anyone in like the middle ground on the Snyderverse? I feel like people either really love it,
No.
or they really hate it. I don't know that I've seen too many people in the middle on that situation.
I guess
I'm
in the
fairly,
middle.
I'm fairly indifferent to it. Don't hate it, don't love it.
The middle
Okay,
is
well, there's
silence.
that.
That's
All
why
right.
you don't hear about it, right? It's like everything in the world these days, right? Polar opposites get all the attention because they're
That's
loud
true.
about it.
That's true.
Yeah.
I feel like I slid
think-
into the middle a little, Dave. I feel like I slid into the middle because I really loved Man of Steel, and then some of the films that came after it I didn't love, so it kind of kept me lukewarm on it.
See, Man of Steel, I thought was okay. Man of Steel was okay. Not 100% down with the take on Superman there, but I love Henry Cavill as Superman. Like, loved Ben Affleck as Batman. Hated almost everything they did with him. Loved Wonder Woman as a movie. Loved Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Whatever with the second movie. Aquaman was cool. Hated the Flash, like the character as they did him, and wasn't a fan of the guy playing him. Just from the start, I'm like, this is not Barry Allen. All that aside, I think that Krypto is a fun addition to the movie. I am excited for this. I think as someone who I'm sure a lot of people like Taika Waititi, but like hearing James Gunn compared to Taika Waititi, that kind of hurt a little bit. But but I do think that it'll be a good movie. I think James Gunn does a good job of keeping a balance between serious and funny. I think he does. I just hope that Krypto doesn't turn out to be some kind of, Air Bud 101 Dalmatian situation. Like make it make sense, make him a smart, good boy, but don't make it like stupid for the kids, right? Like nobody wants that. No one's here for that. So as long as they do it and they do it justice, I'm not a dog person. I'll come around. I fucking hate dogs. Dogs piss me off, man. I got dogs all over around my house, and they don't shut the fuck up. They need to learn their place, and they need to fucking get off my lawn. Dogs can fuck off, as far as I'm concerned. But I really like Krypto, though. I like Krypto. I had a dog named Krypto one time.
Oh yeah.
And I'm a fan of Krypto. I think he's a great dog. I liked Krypto the Super Dog. I love that show. Watched it with my kids growing up. It was great. But I think he could do really well. I think James Gunn does really well with his animal type characters. I think it'll be interesting seeing like a dog who's doesn't. God, I hope he doesn't talk. Jeez, no. But like, yeah, I think if he's done right, he'd be great. And it'd be fantastic. I'm down for it.
Dave, honestly, we were friends there until you started saying that you don't love dogs, and then this is
Hey,
exactly how I
it
felt.
is what it is, man.
No, this is how I felt.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
It's the way the world has made me, man. I'll be the villain. I don't care. It's fine.
Truly devastating. All right, he's going, and oh no! Oh, it's an upset with the nuts. Truly devastating. Truly devastating. Truly devastating. Well said, guys. I'm
Wait,
warmed
I
up
want to know
effectively.
what does Pete think of your accent
what
there
I
on
was
that
gonna
clip?
say.
Like it, Pete?
Terrible. I don't know what you were doing there.
Truly
I mean,
devastating.
there's a little bit of Austin Powers in there. Oh no!
Oh no! All right, Pete. I'm gonna re-record that with you.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good. I have insulted Pete. He's never coming back. You hate to see it. Guys, I want to say hi to the chat because we have over 50 people watching live today, getting nuts with us here on a Sunday. So let's say hello to everybody.
Is that everyone? I can want it more.
Nuts!
Assemble.
By the way, Pete, if you thought that accent was bad, you should have heard me for my Star Trek content. I do like the Star Trek intro. But the first time I did it, I recorded myself sounding like Patrick Stewart, and then I recorded myself sounding just like my normal self, and I sent it to the boys. And they were like, no, definitely do the one sounding like yourself. The Patrick Stewart one's horrible. So if anybody ever wants to see that in an outro, let me know and I'll plug that in. It's pretty bad. We got 12-inch Moose Arena in the chat. Says, hello, community of collectors. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here as always. We got Thalia Meyer with us as well. Love to see you here, my friend. Thanks for being here. Xmas Supreme as a channel member in the chat and on the panel. You'll love to see it. Sith Scale Collector, same thing. Member, chat, panel. Absolutely love to see it. One of our greatest panel members here, I should say chat members. Wow, I can't speak. Channel members, thank you. King Dingaling, love to see it here. We got Valkyrie Magnus, one of the best out there as well. Always great comments from Valkyrie on my videos. Thank you so much for watching all of those, good sir. We've got Eddie Money Mendez in the panel, on the chat, and on the membership. Love to see you here, my friend. We got JB in the chat. Nuts are feeling dry roasted. Hopefully they're salty at the very least. We got Rogue One Photography here. I love how you guys are like, ew, what the fuck? Who says this on live? Yeah, I hate to see it. We got Rogue One Photography in the channel, on the panel, not on the panel, in the channel membership. You'll love to see it with a nut fun. Make sure if you guys are on the membership, guys, hit the nut fun button for me in the chat. Would love to see that. We got Mark P in the chat with us as well. Hello, Sunday collectors. Good to see you, my friend. Noble Young in the chat with us with an umbrella, a nut, a money bag, a squirt, a peace sign, and a covering your face symbol. Love to see it. We got Jose G. Hernandez, Jose Plus. He says, hello, everyone. Not feeling well. So sorry I couldn't join the panel today. No problem, buddy. Hope you're feeling better. Jose did tell me he's started up a YouTube channel and he's looking into some content. So stay tuned. When Jose's ready to get that rolled out for everybody, we'll definitely have him on the show so he can tell us all about it. We got Collection Obsession here in the chat with us as well as in our channel membership. Hello, Nuts. Hi, all. Good to see you here, buddy. Let's see here. We got Figurecraft, Mr. Philly. He told us he's out at the pumpkin patch today with the kids. Love to see you, buddy. Hope you're having a fun time enjoying the replay after the fact if you get a chance to watch. We got Rogue One Photography as well. Love it. All of the different emojis that you can put in there. And happy to see the panel of guys here as well. We got Clinton Martin in the chat. My friend, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. Howdy, folks. Good to see you. Let's see here. I want to make sure we don't miss anybody. SpongeBob SquarePants. Classy Thomas, as always. He says he's heading home today. So happy to hear that news, my friend. Let's see here. I want to make sure we don't miss anybody. We got Christian Crosshair Cooper. What's up, guys? Good to see you. We got Duran Moss here as well. Good to see you back again, my friend. Thank you for being here. He says that's awesome news for, of course, Classy Thomas. We got Dirk Diggler's Stunt Double. That one makes me laugh every time. He was in The Dark Knight too. Going as far as saying, what's his name? Glenn Powell was in The Dark Knight, which I think he's trolling. I don't think that that's the case. I've seen that movie lots of times. I do not remember seeing him in there. We got Rachel Miller in the chat. Love you lots. Good to see you here. We got Mr. Musashi with us again. What's up, Ben and crew? Good to see you, my friend. We got Mr. AJ Green Day. Love to see it. We mentioned his comment earlier, but happy to have you in the chat with us as well. One more moment, guys, and we'll continue to move on. We got Bad Gadget in the chat. This reminds me, I need to look for a new rack. Garage rack, that is, with regards to Sydney Sweeney. And of course, I was a little distracted too. What's up?
Glenn Powell is in The Dark Knight Rises.
Is he in The Dark Knight Rises?
Yeah,
That's
he
true.
plays one of the
stockbrokers.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's the one that Bane throws up against the desk.
Stand corrected.
Yeah.
I gotta watch that again. That blows me away. I did not realize that was him. That's amazing. I mean, I guess he wasn't a big name at that point yet, right? So wouldn't have hit for me. We got Aunt Jemima in the chat with us, feeling syrupy. Love to see it. Good to see you here, my friend. Let's see. I think that's almost everybody, guys. I want to just double check. If I missed anybody, call me out in the chat. Oh, we got Harry Dempsey here. It says, first time catching it live. That's awesome. Listening as I'm tearing down my shelves to rearrange to fit 2 new corner units in. Hell yeah, that is awesome. Thank you so much for being here live with us. I really like that screenshot as well, the Batman Punisher combination. That's badass. Good to see you here, buddy. Hope your shelf goes well. Make sure you share it with us in the community if you're part of any of our Facebook groups, especially the Collecting Weekly Auxiliary. That's one of my favorite Facebook groups. Even though I've left the chat temporarily, I still love the group as well. So Guys, let's move on with the show. Just for some quick housekeeping, if you're interested in becoming a channel member, I will put the membership link in the chat here in a couple minutes. These are our membership badges that show up beside your name. That's how I know you're a channel member. Most of us are in that live long and nut section, but a couple of you are approaching that bub nut section. So I'm excited to see X-Men specifically get to the bub nut status. But let us know, guys, as well. Dean the Dream is actually the one who made these designs for me. I am a horrible artist. If I tried to draw a nut, it would not look like a nut. Whereas Dean made all of these so well. I'm always willing to put in some requests to Dean for some new designs. So if anybody really, truly wants something, it has to be a member request. But if a member comes to me and says, can you consider this? I will certainly do so and chat with Dean about it. I got to get him when his artistic juices are flowing, right, Dean?
Yeah.
So.
I don't know if they look like a nut, but
Actually, I was asked why the Deadpool has such big butt buns. And I was like, no, it's because he's a nut. You can't see that? It's like, no, it looks like his butt's hanging down.
Yeah, they're nut sacks is what they are. I had to explain it to Marco the other day. He's like, it doesn't look like a peanut. I was like, it's not supposed to. It's supposed to look like a tiny dick and balls.
Yeah. If anything, the bub nut looks the least like a nut, but he's one of my favorite ones. So I'm like, I'm good with it.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Wolverine is he can't. All his like really cool iconic poses are like his huge muscular arms and his claws. So I couldn't really find a way to like showcase the nut without, kind of obscuring.
You could have just shown some more sack hanging down.
Some more sack on the bottom. Bigger cheeks.
Yeah.
Bigger cheeks. It's funny because Warner Bros. Is always the worst when it comes to content and slapping content. So on my TeePublic website, both the Dark Nut and now Live Long and Nut has been taken off due to copyright issues. Even though I'm like, it's original artwork. Like even like it's not even a bat logo on his chest; it's a nut logo with bat wings. But nope, they made me take it down. So that's okay. All good. All good. So if anybody out there got a Dark Nut shirt, it's a one and only because you're never going to be able to get one again. So
Paramount as well. Then take the Star Trek.
Paramount's also really tricky. They didn't let me post it right from the very get go. The first time I tried to put up the Star Trek one, they slapped it immediately down. Yeah. So which is shitty. But because honestly, I kind of wanted stickers of all of these over time, right? So just like C-Dub does. So I am looking at doing stickers monthly. I might try Sticker Mule. That's a good call. I'm thinking about doing stickers for channel members, kind of like CW does, because now I have, I think, almost 20 designs, Dean, when it's all said and done. So we could go for almost 2 years of just a monthly giveaway. So if the channel member's watching, if that's something you guys would be interested in, let me know. It would mean that I'd probably have to do an additional $1 just to cover some cost. I don't need to make money at it. I just think it would be fun to have people out there that has it. So let me know if that's something you guys are interested in. And then last, of course, but not least, these are some of our emojis that we've got listed right now. I think the only one that doesn't ever get put up is the Adventure Time one, which is interesting. I like Adventure Time, but
I didn't redo those. They're not very good.
I like the Adventure Time. I think that one's good. My favorite is the Nut Buster and the Smash the Nut button. But smash the Nut button for us, guys, while you watch. Now, this is some interesting...
Super nut?
A super nut, like a Superman nut?
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to need it, honestly. It's going to need the same hairstyle as James Gunn's Superman, right? So maybe with a Krypto nut as well. We'll see how it goes.
Need a Hulk nut.
Yeah.
Ooh, a big veiny nut.
With the big old Hulk hands.
A green, veiny, pulsating nut. This is weird.
Well, Hulk needs to be doing this with his hands, though, okay? I need him to use them on this or that.
Just a big, angry one.
A big, angry one. You guys are wild. Okay, let's move on to some 6-scale news. So this, I want to shout out Austin Nicholas, who is right now attending New York Comic Con. I did not actually ask Austin permission for this, but he posted this on his Instagram, so I wanted to give him a quick shout out. He's posted here that Mondo has teased us with a couple of different lines, including the Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, looking like a Mondo section here, an Alien Mondo, as well as a Goofy movie and Yu-Gi-Oh!, which I thought was interesting. For me, I think the two obviously that stand out the most are Alien and the Turtles. I was a huge fan of the Turtles in the 90s. I had all the figures, I had the vehicles, I had them all. This, to me, actually, though, the image on the right, the render, I don't actually think that looks very much like those Turtles specifically, but I don't know if it's supposed to. The only reason I thought it was because I thought that the Turtles logo looks like that 90s logo.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah, it
surprised that
does.
it didn't look more animated. But this, again, is a render. This is not a final completion by any stretch.
I think
More
they're
of just
doing
a
what they
hype
did
piece.
with Lionel. They're doing their
Okay.
own take. It's like a mixture of everything. You know?
Mixture of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could
That
see
Lionel
that.
looks so good.
Yeah. Eddie, out of these, I know you're also an alien guy. Is this something like with especially with the Hot Toys competition with Alien? Was the Turtles, Alien, Goofy Movie, or Yu-Gi-Oh something that you were interested in seeing pop up on the screen this week?
I think they're all really cool lines, and I think all of them excite me. I think the ones that excite me the most is probably Goofy Movie, actually. Alien is cool, too.
Interesting.
It's just, I don't love Mondo, and so I'm interested to see how their Alien would come out. So I don't know how I feel about that. I have to see what it looks like. But Goofy Movie is exciting just because I know it'll look exactly how it does in the movie. So that I'm kind of hoping they do that one first because I would love to have that. Turtles is cool. They're not gonna move at all. They're just gonna stand there. Like, so that's I don't know if I want them to just stand there. I guess I'd be more excited, but I'm not that excited about them. I'd also be more excited if they look more like the '92 movie than anything. But Yu-Gi-Oh is cool too. I loved Yu-Gi-Oh growing up, but I don't know if I need figures of Yu-Gi-Oh. And then there was another one that I don't know if you got it. I think they teased Gargoyles. That one I think is super exciting because I think they make great looking animated figures. I just don't like that they don't move. But Goliath on the shelf, like even if he couldn't move, just a big Goliath with the wings and like what they did with Man-Bat would be pretty freaking sick.
That would be insane.
I'm
the sheer amount of
tempted on
space, though, because I had the
Yeah.
NECA Gargoyles figures, and that Goliath, just his wingspan was insane for the display, and that was like the NECA 7-inch scale size, right? So, but that's cool. I loved Gargoyles. That's up there with me for Batman the Animated Series, like similar artistic take, a lot of the same voice actors, and a lot of actual like Star Trek voice actors in there as well. I'm a big Star Trek guy myself, as you all might know. But let's see here, Dean. I haven't heard from you in a little while, buddy. What are your thoughts on 6-scale Turtles, Alien, Goofy Movie, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Gargoyles?
The only pretty much all of these have been really excited. The only thing that keeps me kind of hesitant is Mondo's prices sometimes are fucking crazy. The one I'm most excited about is actually Yu-Gi-Oh. If they do character figures instead of like the monsters, because a 6-scale Yami Yugi would go hard. That'd be sweet. Or even like a base Yugi would be really cool. But everyone always like does the monsters from the cards. So that's interesting. I kind of want to see how that turns out. The Goofy Movie though, that's crazy. That's really, I feel like that's gonna do really well. Kind of tickle that nostalgia for a lot of people.
I remember liking the Goofy Movie a lot, Dean, but I don't like. It's never something I've thought I'd ever want to collect from.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I'm with you personally, but I know a lot of people have really fond memories of that movie, so I'm sure someone out there is like chomping at the bit to see how these turn out. Because like going from animated to figure form, I feel like is kind of Mondo's strength. Right, we see like the X-Men and the Marvel characters, and then I think they did a few Batman characters as well. So that's really cool. I've also really wanted a full set of Turtles, so if these prices are pretty decent, that might be interesting.
Thing for me though, Dean, is that I think NECA does the Turtles really well. Like really, really well. Both the animated style of Turtles as well as the like movie realistic ones. Yeah. If I was going to put 6-scale Turtles in my collection, I think I'd want the 90s movie Turtles more. That's really where, like, for figure collecting, I think I'd like to see it. And I think they would pair better with my current kind of display. But I agree with you. Dave, what are your thoughts, buddy, on the Mondo news here, both with the Turtles, some of these other slides, as well as maybe Gargoyles, like Eddie was saying?
I didn't know at all that they were doing Yu-Gi-Oh. Let me tell you. Okay, so like Yu-Gi-Oh started in, what was it, 96? I was turning 17 that year. I was way too old to be into Yu-Gi-Oh by my peers' standards, all right? But I went hard on Yu-Gi-Oh, man. I loved it. I had like 2 sets of Exodia. I had the Egyptian God cards. I was in it. But man, like, I'm very interested to see what they do. Am I gonna buy it? No. But I really want to see what they do because that would be really cool. The Turtles are very interesting. But like you were saying, I would love to have like the movie Turtles in 6 scale. That's what I think that's what a lot of people have always wanted is those guys in 6 scale, like the first movie, 100%. Right? That'd be so great. And you know, if NECA ever actually did it, that'd be fantastic. But no, I think this Donatello, from what we can see, looks pretty cool. I'm very interested to see what they do. Will I get them? Probably not. I like the Turtles, but I'd rather have the movie Turtles in 6 scale than anything. And I've not touched the NECA stuff just because I'm staying away from other scales. Though I did get that April O'Neil that they did, the signature edition with the press pass. That was cool.
I've got her right above me here. She's awesome.
Yeah, I had to get that. But yeah, I think this is great. I'm really looking forward to it. That their X-Men line is fantastic. As I always talk about, I love their X-Men line. And Cyclops is coming out in another like couple of months maybe. So that'll be great.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, this is Mondo news is always fun, I think. They always do really cool stuff.
Well, and since I'm on with you there, Dave, Mondo's also given us the kind of a quick little teaser picture of what the Venom is going to look like. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the Hot Toys Venom next. I was curious, though, Dave, because you didn't love the movie Venoms. Would the Mondo Venom be one that you would pick up?
I think it looks cool. A lot of people are kind of against the whole blue and red coloring thing, and I get it because it's weird looking, but also it's like, you know, it's a thing that they did in the cartoon. So I obviously, you know, you get where it came from. I'm not really doing the Spider-Man figures so much. I'm like, I gotta draw the line somewhere, so I'm sticking with the X-Men line and I'm going hard in that. I think the Venom looks cool. I think the Venom looks cooler than Spider-Man does.
Yeah.
I think the Spider-Man needs a little help with that weird shaped head of his. But yeah, I think the Venom looks all right. The veins are a little weird, but you know, it's part of how he looks. So, you know, I guess it's one of those take it or leave it kind of things. Not for me, but I think it looks all right.
Our buddy Zach from Collecting Weekly was really excited to see what the Spider-Man line was going to look like. And then some of those teases we've seen so far, he's like, nope, maybe not. Maybe not something I'm going to go with, which is too bad to see. But I am excited to see the more full version of this character, because I do really like the blue cell shading and with the animated look of Venom. But then Hot Toys gave us a new Venom to talk about this week, and I was interested to see. I did a this or that video on Venom, because right now collectors are waiting on that 21-inch Venom from the Spider-Man 2 game, and that thing was like super impressive looking when it first went out for pre-order, being nearly double the height of some of these other characters kind of next to him. And people were really interested because, of course, the Tom Hardy Venom did not come with the white symbiote. And when you look at both of these comparatively, clearly they're using the same body, just the 21-inch one is scaled up. The logo of the Venom, the white logo anyways, looks a little different on both. I actually think I prefer the one that's more comic inspired on the right side. In terms of scaling, I definitely prefer the one on the right, the newest comic version. But I was curious for you guys on the panel in terms of a this or that. What one are you guys considering, if any? Pete, I'll actually start with you. A 21-inch Venom in the display or a comic book inspired Venom. What are your thoughts? Do you think this is comic enough?
Yeah, I don't. I'm not really a fan of that big guy. I think it's obviously from the game, which I haven't played. he's just a little bit too big. I get he's got a presence,
huge.
but trying to fit that in any sort of display is going to be really difficult. I definitely prefer the one on the right with that symbol and stuff. And I'm not a huge Venom fan, but I would possibly consider putting this in my Spider-Man display because he does look pretty cool.
He does. I love the look of the gnarly teeth that he's got there. Like that's pretty wild for sure. Dean, are you a Venom guy? Like, have you thought about putting a Venom figure in your collection at all if you don't have one already? Is this the one that's going to tip over for you, or are you still waiting on another version?
No, if I was going to get a Venom, it'd definitely be this one. I like that classic comic book look, but still can fit into a, realistic shelf. So I do like the size of the video game Venom, just because it's so imposing. But I don't really have a connection to that look for Venom. So as much as I do like it, I think I'd just get the. I say smaller. It's still a very large figure, comic book style Venom. Because Spider-Man's always been my favorite superhero, so that's I gotta find the funds. But at this point, there's gonna be so many Venoms on the market. I feel like the price is gonna come down on a lot of these, so I'll probably just wait.
You mentioned a good point there, Dean, actually, because I was on Pop Culture's website the other day, and they had Venom on there for Carnage on there for a staggeringly low price. Almost to the point where I was like, I haven't needed it, but now it's like, ooh, I could justify it. It's bargain bin enough. And I honestly think one of the deterring factors for Carnage was his size as well, especially in comparison to the Tom Hardy Venom. I didn't love the fact that in the second movie Carnage was bigger than Venom. I just didn't sit right with me. But that figure is incredible to look at, and for the price point, it was wild. I kind of think, especially with the introduction to collectors of this new comic Venom, that video game one is going to end up sitting on the shelf and end up getting slashed in terms of pricing. Pete, do you agree with that, buddy? And would you, if you were going to pick either of these, is it a this or that or both? What are your thoughts?
I think I've already been, mate.
Yeah, my apologies. I moved everybody.
That's right. No worries.
I meant to say, Mike, my apologies. I haven't had Mike's thoughts on this yet.
Yeah, I think this new one looks really good. To Jose's point in the chat, the one on the left, the video game, it's not even Eddie Brock, so it's kind of misses on a number of points to that for me. I really like this comic version. I'm not jumping on it right away. I'm kind of in the boat that maybe it can get it a little cheaper later, hopefully. But I think they hit on a lot of good spots, right? You got the logo, you got the white. Now, what shape is it? It's not really a rectangle, but you got that on the back of his palm. The only thing that kind of throws me off on that one is all the little the symbiote heads. I don't really remember that as a look in any of the comic Venoms. I know he always has like kind of the strings or whatever kind of coming off, but I don't.
It happens from time to time.
I was gonna say I'm sure at some point they do, but it's not the image that I picture. So I wish there was kind of maybe a different choice for that, and also I mean it would be awesome if it came with like an animated Eddie Brock head sculpt too, but now we're just being picky, but I think it looks really cool.
I think like X-Men said, so I in my this or that video said I don't also remember like the tendrils with the Venom heads on it. That has appeared in some comics. And I was corrected by a couple of the viewers, which was great. I was like, okay, good to know. I thought it felt too like ripped off from the Tom Hardy one, because clearly there's a lot of reuse with this comic one, right? Like he came with the same type of tendrils, just without the eyes painted on there. It's pretty easy emission. The body's obviously the same. It's really just a new sculpt. I'd be curious to see if this sculpt would be as easily transferable with the other Venom that I have as well, the Tom Hardy. I would imagine it's the same technology, so I'd be curious to see. For me, I still think that I like the newest one the most, but at the same time, because I actually went out of my way to hunt down that half-transformed Eddie Brock head sculpt with my other Venom, that's actually the one that I have on display, because it took that figure from feeling like a big toy in my display amongst movie realistic characters and made it feel like a movie realistic character. Whereas I'm worried that if I go back to this one, it'll actually feel kind of, again, like a awesome but big toy in comparison to those movie realistic ones. So we'll see. But guys,
Do
let
you
us know
think
in
if
the
you
comments.
can put that, if you could put that head sculpt on the video game one, do you think it would work? Like look wise?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, potentially. I think it could look cool. I think it could look really cool. Yeah, if the technology is the same, then yeah, maybe. And it's hard. I just don't need two of them. So I feel like I have to make a decision as to whether I want to keep that one or not. But as I said, I could still sell that figure complete because I actually purchased that Venomized Eddie Brock sculpt on the secondary, which cost me a lot. Actually, it was like $75 that I paid to get that thing. So, but the way she goes, guys, let us know in the chat. Is it this? Is it that? Is it both? Which choice are you going to make? Jose says the video game Venom isn't the real Venom. Is an easy choice.
My man.
Love to see it there. Let's move on to our friend Balin Skull. So, I'm on record saying that I didn't love the Ahsoka show. It was good for the most part. It was like a popcorn watch. I didn't hate it by any stretch. I know some of us really, really disliked it. One of the things that really stood out to me, though, was that I actually think I liked Balin and Shin more in the show than I actually liked the main character Ahsoka. These were the two that every time they were on screen, it really captured my attention. But Eddie had made a good point to me the other day on Collecting Weekly that just because they were cool in the show doesn't necessarily make you feel like you want to collect them. And it did challenge my thinking on that a little bit, because I didn't really love the show, and while I thought the characters were cool, what is my real reason for wanting to collect them? And it did shook my desire a little bit. I'm not going to lie. It shook me up, bud. So as of right now, maybe I need the chat to help me, but I'm not totally convinced to get these anymore. And I actually think that Balin is a better likeness to the actor than the Shin figure was. I'd be curious to see what you guys have to say about that. Mike, I'll start with you, buddy. I don't know if I've got your take on this yet. What are your thoughts on Balin and the Shin figure, and even the Ahsoka show? Is this something you're collecting from?
Yeah, I'm not collecting anything from the Ahsoka show. It didn't completely blow me away. As much as I loved Rebels, those weren't close enough to what was in the show for me to want to collect them, aside from Chopper, which I may try to pick him up on his own. As far as the figure, yeah, we talked a little bit about it on Tuesday, but I think the figure as a whole is really good. I think the body proportions are good, the tailoring's good. My only concern, and I've been saying this about the last few, are bearded figures. I don't think Hot Toys does a great job with these fuller beards on figures. There's the same thing with Kenobi. There's just something to it. They don't have the technology or the ability yet to kind of make them look a little thinner. It's the same thing when they get head sculpts, the sculpted hair with kind of the puffier look. I think they look too thick, kind of like the last Star-Lord release. So yeah, like on this one, the beard just looks too fake. It makes his face look too puffy. Kind of buries that upper lip. The same way the Kenobi ones do. So, if Hot Toys can get a little better with adding the little thicker beards on their figures, I think everything else about this looks great. But yeah, I'm not collecting a line, so this one won't be coming home.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. No, well said about that. Because I do agree, even like on this photo, for example, the one on the left specifically, where you can see how well done Hot Toys has done the texturing and the wrinkling and the freckles and everything, and then you see it next to the hair, and the hair does look really plasticky. Pete, what were your thoughts on these figures? I don't think I've heard your take at all yet on both Ahsoka, but also just these figures themselves.
Yeah, Ahsoka, not a massive fan. I have got the Ahsoka the white figure on order just because I really liked the outfit. It's a real samurai look. I think it made a good display. And I quite liked Ray Stevenson's character in the movie, in the series, and obviously, unfortunately, he's not with us anymore, so we won't see any more of him. But I very much, when they announced this, I didn't like the sculpt, and again, particularly, it comes down to the hair and effectively the beard as well. It does look very, very plastic. It looks very sculpted, and I think it really takes away from his likeness, and it's a bit of a shame because it would have been nice for this to be an absolute banger to kind of sort of remember him as an actor and a person. And yeah, I am a little bit disappointed with it, and I wasn't looking to buy it anyway. But I think on the strength of this, I would have possibly, wanted to move him on, because I just don't think it's realistic enough in the face sculpt to kind of stand. It looks like the some of those Father Christmas figures that is it Mythic Legions did or something like that. It kind of has that sort of vibe for me when he's got the hood up there. So yeah, a bit disappointed, and we'll obviously have to wait to see what the Shin one turns out. Like, I didn't mind the prototype, but again, if it kind of obviously she's unfortunately not got a beard to have to worry about, so it might turn out to be a bit more realistic. But I'm just picking up that Ahsoka from the show.
Fair enough. Well said, Pete. Eddie, I've heard quite a few people say that this is a Grail figure. It's got to be a Grail because the actor passed away, so this is your only opportunity to buy him. Do you think that losing an actor automatically turns a figure into a Grail? Or what are your thoughts? Do you think that's going to change once people get them in the collection?
I don't think that him passing automatically makes it a Grail. I think they're hyping it up more to justify their own purchase. I think that's what that is. Like, that making them feel better about needing this character that much. Because otherwise, people could love him, and that's fine. And I think it was a good character. I just think it's a little overhyped. Like, like even before he passed, I think people were saying it was a Grail, and like, he's good. And I thought Shin was okay. Like, they're cool. I just have no love. But also, I might have said this, and I don't think we really talked about it, but like, my hype and love for Star Wars is kind of dying a little bit, and it sucks because I really love Star Wars, but it's not my top thing that I want to collect right now. It's like I don't even care about new stuff coming out, really. Like, I think they've effectively killed that for me with all the stuff that's come out. Like, I just don't care anymore. So that could be part of it, is why I don't care. But also, I just think there's a lot of like love for this and like people needing this, when I'm like, dude, it's like $300 and he was just cool. Like, if he had his own show and then everybody was like, oh, I need this, like, okay, I could see that more. But he was just in a couple segments in the show, and like, so I'm like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. But actually, I think you picked better pictures, because I also said I didn't love the head sculpt when we first saw it, and in these pictures, I think the lighting does it more justice. I could see more detail in the eyes, and the eyes don't look as like bugged out. Because in some of the blogger photos, I was like, it looks super like toyetic sculpt. Like, it fell off for me from the prototype. But I think these pictures, even in the left, like, if you guys think that it looks toyetic or plasticky in these pictures, go see the blogger photos that they released, because these actually look pretty good to me. I could still see the plastic in the hair and in the beard, like you guys are saying, and I agree. But
For sure.
it's sometimes they do, like, I feel like they're getting really good with hair sculpts and like having more defined lines, and then this one, it kind of seems like they went away from that. So I don't know.
I still say my TVA Loki is one of the best sculpted hair figures I have. It it just looks perfect for me. I love it. It's interesting that you mentioned also the loss of love for Star Wars a little bit, because when I got into collecting 6 scale, I was seeing the original trilogy characters popping up online for like half the cost at times. Like, you could amass quite a good Star Wars collection because people had fallen out of love with that fandom for a period of time and were starting to kind of get rid of their Star Wars stuff in favor of Marvel, in favor of some other lines. And then Mandalorian hit, and it really truly reinvigorated the love for Star Wars for so many of us again. And those Star Wars figures shot up in value once again, and everybody needed them again, right? And so I think obviously fandom comes in waves. I'm hoping that you regain some of that love. I'm hoping that some piece of content that they put out at some point really hooks you again, because there's a lot of good in Star Wars, but there's also a lot of stuff that you don't need to collect from. If you're not feeling the love for it, don't do it. Save the space for something else that's going to hit. Dean, last but not least, buddy, I'd be curious what your thoughts are on Balin and Shin, but also just the fact that Ray Stevenson did pass away, do you think that role should be recasted so that we can explore that character a little bit more, or do you think they should leave it where it was?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I feel like he was supposed to be a lot more important, just in terms of where his character was ending up. That I feel like it begs to be explored.
Totally.
It would. So I feel like you have to recast that character, because otherwise that story arc literally goes nowhere. He's like kind of mysterious and not quite good, but not quite bad. And he's like, something's calling me. I have to go see what it is. To have it just end there is criminal. But it is Disney we're talking about. So what isn't criminal at this point?
Right.
But yeah, I'm kind of with Eddie on this figure. I really did enjoy the character on screen. I think he was the best part about that show. Him and Shin were. It was like the second they popped up, it was like, yes, let's see what they're up to. And then when it came time to order these figures, I had them both in my cart, $600, and I was like, I don't love them $600 worth. Like, I just don't. And it's not really any fault of the actors or even the show. I mean, the show wasn't great, but I mean, if you really watch it, they didn't really do anything. They were interesting to watch. Or I guess Balin, kicked Ahsoka's ass, but like, they didn't. Their stories kind of just ended up going nowhere. It's like Shin was like the leader of a band of misfits at the end of it, and then he was off in the mountains doing who knows what. So there was no justification of the $600 price tag of getting these guys. So it's like, okay, he beat Ahsoka in a fight, so I'm gonna spend $300 on it. Like, I don't know. So it's a pass for me. I think Eddie was right. I think once I let the hype go, I was like, oh yeah, they didn't really do much. Totally. So
yeah, I love it? $600 worth. That resonates with me, because that's great.
And that was both figures, right? Like,
of course,
$300 each, and then shipping and stuff. So once I saw that, I was like, I there's not enough hype there for me to spend that kind of money. I do really want this figure. That seeing him there on the right picture right there looks so good. Like,
he does, yeah.
I think it looks fantastic. I don't mind the head sculpt. I think I did mention the beard on Tuesday, that they have a problem with beards, but I don't know how else you do it other than doing like, like the rooting thing with like Gandalf. But that's also a long beard, not a short stubble beard. So I don't know. I don't see how it could be better. So to me, that's me nitpicking that I didn't like the beard, but it looks really good. Like, objectively, it looks like a fantastic figure. So I'm fighting every inkling I have to buy this.
The only reason I feel urgency for it is because people keep calling it a Grail before it's even in most people's hands, and so it's like, will it end up on secondary, or will it actually be hard to find down the line? I'd be curious.
Yeah, because even if they redo this figure down the line, it's going to be a different actor. So,
this is
I
the
guess
only opportunity to get this one,
but
at the very least.
To see this figure again, I don't see it ever. Did I glitch?
You glitch just. You don't see it ever. What?
Okay. I don't like we'll see like a Batman 2.0 or whatever. I don't think we'll ever see this figure again. Like, even as just a reissue straight. It's like, why?
Yeah, same. Well said. Kitty Pride, the best X-Men, says, if Shin doesn't release by Kit invoice deadline, then I'm gonna let it go. I like it, but I don't need it. And Figure It Out says Disney will recast him as a diverse, strong female. I'd love to see that. Guys, let's move on, but let us know in the chat if you're interested in picking up Balin and Shin. I'm curious to see what Shin is going to look like. I really did not like her prototype that much, while other people loved it. But she, like Marco would say, she's almost so ugly she's beautiful. I think she's beautiful, let's be honest, and I love the actress, but I did not see it in the figure. I didn't see it, and so we'll see what her final looks like for sure. Really quick note on this one, just outside of 6 scale news, I did see a tease here of the Lego X Mansion, which I thought was really, really cool, as well as some of the minifigures. I was curious, are you guys, or have you ever been Lego collectors? Are you currently a Lego collector? For me, I've got over 300 minifigures in my collection, but I've always had a really hard time figuring out what to do with Lego once it's built. I don't know how to display it in a classy way that doesn't just look over encumbered. But I was curious, X-Men, I know you're a big X-Men fan. Seeing this news, was this something you were interested in? Are you a Lego collector at all?
This almost made me a Lego collector. I'm so very glad that I'm not into Lego like that, because I would have already. This is super cool. I'm not getting it, but I want it. But I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it. This is stupid cool though. This is really cool. And they got the whole little there's a bonus thing if you order it. I guess pre-order it. There's like a little Cerebro room with Professor X in it, and it's just really cool looking. And man, I want it. But the only problem that I have with it is because I keep seeing it labeled as X-Men 97. I don't see it on the box here, but because Justin did his video about it, and the read-up says X-Men 97, right? And I'm like,
yeah.
What? Because first off, why is Iceman here? Secondly, where's Jubilee? Thirdly, where's Beast? Fourthly, where's Morph?
Where's Morph? Yeah.
What? This is not what? So I'm like, it's weird in the marketing there, It's like it's X-Men,
like
so it's gonna be
capitalize on it a little bit.
Yeah, it's X-Men, so it's gonna be great. People are gonna love it and they're gonna sell. You don't need to, get all crazy about it. But I would like to see the 97 cast. This isn't X-Men 97 Storm. That's not what she looks like. Bishop doesn't have all the hair in 97. What? Come on, y'all. What the hell? Put Cable in there. What? But But either way, I would get it because it's still really, really effing cool. But I'm not, because I'm not doing Legos. Nope.
It's so hard for me. I walked past the Lego store yesterday, and I was like, I wanted to go in, and I was like, no, turn around, leave. You don't need to look. If you look, you're gonna buy something. I find Lego, and as much as I think it's cool and I love it, I find it to be overpriced. Oftentimes, I look at it and I'm like, how is that $900? How is that $400? And I get it. There's a price per brick thing, but it's a little over for me. Eddie, this sounds like this is probably your favorite set of all time with regards to Lego. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think it just looks a little boring, to be honest. The mansion just looks, it doesn't, there's nothing, maybe that, I haven't watched X-Men 97. I don't remember how the mansion looks in the animated. I'm going off of, what the mansion looks like in live action from what I know, and this just seems boring to me. It just seems like a brick house. It can't even, I can't even really tell that it's X-Men without having the X-Men on it. It just looks like a brick house. So
True.
I think
Unlike
the
the
Sentinels
Home Alone
are
house,
cool.
for example, that was
yeah, that one has
It's the
a
gazebo
ton
up
of
top
stuff.
that makes it.
And then I think that showing some of the rooms helps. I think in one of the pictures you had on the box, it shows what some of the rooms are. Mm-hmm. So maybe that would you could see it in the bottom there,
a little bit.
Maybe that would help it if it looked like the classrooms, and then you got Wolverine laying in his bed from the iconic scene. So maybe that would help having it opened up like that. But to me, it just seems like whatever. I think the Sentinels are cool. I think they should release those separately though, so you could have as many as you want, because they do those robot build-a-figure things where it's giant robot versions of I think they did Darth Vader and stormtroopers and stuff. So they should release those on their own. I think that would be really cool. But yeah, I don't know. When I saw it, it just didn't hype me up. I like X-Men too, but I don't know. I usually Lego stuff hypes me up kind of the same way where I'm like, oh, I want it, but I shouldn't get it. The Daily Bugle, that one, is a really cool set. The Avengers Tower looks really cool. Like those are both, when I see them, I'm like, dang, I kind of want those. They just look sick and like imposing. This one just kind of, I don't know, it's just there.
Or even
It's
like some of the TV shows they've done, like the Friends set, or like
Yeah,
The
well, I
Office,
love-
or like some of those.
I
Like,
have
love those
the
ones.
I have the Seinfeld set, and I needed that
That's a
because I
great one.
love Seinfeld.
Dude, I almost got that. Almost got that.
So
too,
many good Easter
man.
eggs on that set.
But they're
many good
so
ones.
the bigger ones are super expensive, like you said. Like the ones that really tempt me are the new Lord of the Rings ones, and they're super expensive. Or like the Titanic, I think the Titanic is like $600 or something, and I'm like, dude, I would love to have that, but it's so expensive. So there was a time when I was buying them a lot, especially to do like Bricks and Brews on CW, and it was fun. I had fun building them. Actually, I have the Friends set too because I built them with Adriana. She loves Friends, so they're fun that way. Like, I don't want to tempt you into getting one, but like if you and Katera had a weekend where you just wanted to do something fun, and they're cool that way. They're cool, like just
Her
hang out
ADHD
kind
is
of
too
thing.
wild. She'd lose the
Oh,
pieces
it's too
in
much.
about 10 minutes.
Wow.
It's too-
I forget she's a child still. You know, you
She's-
can't keep them
it's-
entertained
It
for
goes
too
wild.
long. But
Here, you
yeah,
roll
I
the
stopped-
pink bricks.
I stopped getting them so much because I was spending a lot, and also I don't have very much room to display them. And they after you get a couple sets, they do take up some space. So
Yeah.
but yeah,
I've got the Dark Knight, the Tumbler, the original one that came out, the big
Oh, yeah.
ass one. I've got that in my TV display, and I love that one because it's just like it's small enough to fit. I've got it underneath my DeLorean out there, so it's kind of like a little car display. And I've got the Simpsons house, which I also had a really fun time building that. But I used to collect the Lego more for the minifigures. So I would build the set once, I would deconstruct it, and then just keep the minifigures out on display. But again, now I've got 300 of them, and I don't even know how to display those. I'm like, I could use some help. If anybody out there has a minifigure display, I would love to see that. Send it to me on Instagram. Pete, I'll go with you quickly, only because you look like you're falling asleep. I know it's getting real late there for
yeah. It's a bit late.
You have a Lego bat wing,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I've got quite a lot.
You're
Yeah,
a Lego guy.
I am, and I agree. They do take up a lot of space. I've got and I made some sort of custom dioramas. I've got a Jurassic Park. I've got
Nice.
the Mines of Moria, the battle in the with the tomb. I've got some stars. I've got the Razor Crest. I've got the recent UCS Millennium Falcon. I have got the '89 Batmobile and Batwing. I do love Lego, but I have to be very picky now because I haven't got a lot of room left, even having rejigged the room. I am getting the Jaws set for Christmas, which should be fun with the Orca and Bruce. Yeah, I mean, the one that I would like to get would be the AT-AT, but again, I just don't have any room for it. And and the thought of building 4 identical legs kind of puts me off a bit because that can get a bit boring. You know, it's the same build 4 times over, and there's a lot of build going into them. I haven't got any of Marvel stuff. I don't really collect Marvel at all. I used to have some Marvel stuff, but I've now cut that down to just Spider-Man and some of his villains. So yeah, again, I think as the other guys have said, it's a bit boring looking from the front. You know, when you've got the brooms and stuff. I mean, the Home Alone one is fantastic. It's so iconic. Whereas this one's a little bit like, yeah, it's a mansion. It's got some rooms in. So yeah, I saw this one pop up, and I was like, nah, it's not for me. But yeah, you know, it's Lego is always great, but it's always, you know, it's pricey, and it's kind of not. It's only going up really at the moment. So. Yeah.
I agree with you guys on the boring side of it a little bit. It looks a little boring from the outside. You know, Eddie, like you said, if there was an X-Men surrounding it, and you were like, "What's this from?" I would actually be hard pressed to know 100%. And there's probably a ton of build on the inside that when it's closed up, you really can't see it. So a lot of the value that you're paying for is really truly hidden, especially once it's in a display. Whereas I do like those builds that have a little bit more going on the outside of it. I saw the is it the Tower of Sauron in like the Lego store the other day. That thing looked wild, but again, like you can see the whole piece from the collection display, right? So, yeah, curious, but yeah, if anybody out there is watching, if you guys have a really cool Lego minifigure display, I'd love to have some ideas on how to display all mine. Might do a couple more shorts in the future on them.
You have 300 minifigs?
over 300.
Since when?
Wow.
You're not even
I started
a
collecting
Lego
them.
guy.
I started collecting them back in like 2006. Like I had some really old school ones now, really old school.
That'd be
But
a
I was
sick
collecting-
wall display.
I was collecting them before I got into 6-scale collecting, and one of the reasons I liked figure collecting so much was because I loved collecting the minifigure representations of my favorite characters. But again, it got to be a slippery slope because at one point I had a closet filled of just like built sets because I was literally like building it once, taking
Just
the
wanted
figures
the
out.
figures.
And putting it back in, and it was getting too expensive for it. Like it was getting wild. I started to realize I could get a whole 6-scale figure for the price of like 2 Lego sets, or maybe even 3 Lego sets, and that was it. Some of those sets are significantly more, right? So, and once I got into 6-scale 100%, I was like, no more Lego. We got to stop. I stopped entirely. So, but we'll move on. Thanks for entertaining me on that one, guys. We have 57 people watching live in the chat. Yeah, if you're just joining in, thank you for getting nuts with us here on a Sunday with me and the boys here. Of course, we appreciate you. Hit the like button if you don't mind, presumptive like, but it definitely helps drive some traffic to the show. I was curious what you guys think of the bar boss, and I was wondering because I've seen a couple people say, "Oh, it's an amazing figure," but then I pulled up the likeness and I was like, "Well, it's okay. It's pretty good." This is from Mars Toys, of course. But the hype for Penguin right now is real. I have not had a chance to watch the show yet. I'm waiting until it's out and it's full amount of episodes before I subscribe for a free month to Crave TV again to catch it all in one go. But I'm feeling that fear of missing out because everybody I've talked to who said they're watching the show is freaking absolutely loving it. But is it enough to buy a figure? Is it enough to collect this one that's currently the only one that's available to collectors? Eddie, I think you said that you've been enjoying the show, if I am not mistaken. Is this a Mars Toys figure offering that you will be considering putting in the display?
The show is really good, man. So, I mean, I think you could wait and watch it till they're all out. I don't see a problem with that, but it is really good. Me and Adriana look forward to watching it every week. So,
Hell yeah.
it's been really good. As far as this figure, Mars Toys is just not held up to me lately. Like, they've dropped the ball. I feel like their likenesses aren't as good as they came out the gates with. And I've been feeling that way ever since Riddler, really. But even like their Keaton was okay. Their Alfred was really good. So they still can do it, like, because Alfred was released in between those, I think. So he was really good. So they can still do great likenesses. Lately, like with this and with Gus Fring, like, I just feel like they're not that great for me to spend money on. Like, they look like any other third-party figure to me.
Especially when you think back to that Cesar Romero, right? That Joker
Yeah,
was
like,
insane.
so good. So good. So I could tell who it is. Like, I know who it is. But even the tailoring is like, I don't know. It looks a little baggy and big on him. I don't know. It looks okay. But for what... I don't know what the price of this is, but I feel like Mars has more expensive figures. So I feel like for what you pay, it's not that great. And I would actually probably get this character if it was done really good. I just don't think that they're doing that great. So if people are happy with it, that's cool. And I think it's cool that you have a figure from something that's like pretty good right now. But I'm not a fan of it. So I'm a little worried because I still have Two-Face on order, and I have the Willy Wonka figure on order, and I don't know. They have
worried
shown
about the Willy Wonka
updates
one,
to the Wonka head sculpt. Nothing like printed though, just updates.
Yeah, it's
and
quite
rendering.
delayed, that figure. I'm waiting on that one as well, Eddie.
Really delayed.
So
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm hoping it's good, but I haven't been liking what I'm
Mm.
seeing so far.
I wonder what's going on with Mars Toys, because I agree with you. There was a few, like we said, with the Romero Joker, which was, a contender for like figure of the year when that thing came out last year. Like, that was just so freaking good. And then I agree, like the Riddler, like I see Jim Carrey in there a little bit for sure, but it's certainly not a perfect likeness by any stretch. I was personally lukewarm on the Alfred Eddie, but I never had him in hand, so I think that would have been the big difference maker for me there. But at the same time, I hate to see this company kind of going on a bit of a backslide with regards to likeness, because I felt like they had like so much freaking potential. But I also wonder if they're doing something similar to what I feel like with Exo-6, where it's like, do they have different teams working on different characters? So that's why you see vast differences in quality. Do any of the rest of you boys have any thoughts on the Penguin as a show or the figure collecting? Because, of course, at this point, really, the Batman movie itself doesn't really have anything to pair him with. He's very much a standalone character in your display. I'm still waiting on my in-art one. Hopefully that ships like any day now. Any of the rest of you guys have any thoughts on this one?
You're gonna love this show. You're gonna love it when you watch it.
Can't wait to see it.
You're gonna be so into this. I still can't believe that's Colin Farrell. Every time I look at
It's
him,
wild.
Yeah.
every time I forget. Every time I watch the show, I forget that's Colin Farrell. And then I remember, I'm like, holy shit, that's Colin Farrell. But damn, yeah, the show is fantastic. The figure looks okay. It's like they bring out the big guns for the '66 stuff. Is what they're doing. It looks like.
Yeah.
Right, like everything else. Like they made a whole new like label to make the dynamic duo, right? And those turned out pretty decent.
Toys, yeah.
Yeah, but like, hey, as long as the '66 stuff is good, that's fine. I don't know who really needs a Penguin figure from the movie or the show. Honestly, it's a great show and a great movie, and absolutely love. I'm telling you, dude, the way they do this character in this show, he is just phenomenal. If there aren't awards for this show for the actors in this show, there's something wrong, because it's too good. It shouldn't be this good.
The show could show him a little more, though. They could show him. It's
but
the
now,
Penguin. That's one thing that's been bugging me about the show.
I will say this last episode was a lot less of him, absolutely. But like, there's so much story going on with what's going on it's we can debate it all day, but I think what everybody agrees on though is that it's a great show, great actors all around, great story. It's this guy is so dimensional. You see so many sides of this character that you've never even considered before, and it's fantastic. But yeah, figure's okay. Yeah.
Does the figure even have the brace on his leg? It's hard to tell here.
I highly doubt it.
I don't see it.
Yeah.
Right. He should have that brace on his right leg. It goes over his shoe, so you should be able to see it.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I don't see anything.
Yeah, I'm sure they didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Interesting. Is it something you'd pick up, Mike?
No, I echo what these guys say. This show's fantastic, but just to be brief, I don't like anything about this figure. I think it's just a miss all over the place, honestly. Unfortunately,
it's really more of like a nut all over the place.
Do his arms look really long too? Look at his arms.
They do.
They do look a little long.
They
oddly
do.
enough.
He could fly with arms like that.
I'll love to see it. I'm going to skip forward really quick here because I've got one final piece that I want to talk about with regards to the Jazzinc Catwoman. But I was curious because this news did also pop up this week. A worldwide exclusive, the Galen Erso figure coming in Japan 2025. I did put up Galen's, kind of two iconic looks anyways on the left. I apologize. The picture quality was freaking horrendous. I thought these were his iconic looks. I could be wrong. But what do you guys think? Dean, I'll go with you. I know you're a big Rogue One fan. Is this a character that you'd feel like you'd need in the display? And based on how this is kind of worded here, no. Based on this is worded, do you think this is actually a worldwide release, or do you think that this is exclusive to this con specifically? This is Dean.
How about new?
Yeah, I think these are going to be kind of like the D23 things that we've seen, that they're only released at the conventions, but you could, I think you could still like order them online, like the Disney website. I think that's how they do it, right? I don't remember.
I think so. Yeah, after the fact.
Yeah.
Or it's usually like they come with like the one Spider-Man came without the churro once
yeah,
you can still order
like
the figure,
that.
but the churro is like specific to the con or something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he's important to the story, technically. But Yeah, I mean, he had little to no screen time. I mean, he was good. I like the character. It's just, do I like him $200 to $300 worth? No.
Yeah, for sure.
so
Especially
unless you're
more
like
if you
a-
have to get him from the con somehow.
Yeah, unless you're a completionist or like you like Imperials, sure. But I mean, even at that point, Hot Toys hasn't released half of the fucking Rogue One figures anyway. So what's the point?
Yeah, that's fair. JB says it'll probably be a holographic Galen. So
Yeah, like they did.
it's a
with
really
Darth
iconic
Maul.
look.
That's
Yeah.
terrible.
And I mean, like, there's some great points here in the chat, guys. That for sure. Galen before Cassian Andor is nuts. Eddie, I know you are a huge fan of Andor. Probably the biggest fan I know, actually. What would you rather have, a Galen Erso or a Cassian Andor in your display?
Actually, it's funny. I think I'd rather have Cassian, but because I like him in Rogue One, and I like the actor a lot. But the longer they go without making that figure is amazing for me, because I'll just keep making fun of Marco. Like, you can't talk shit about how good a show is if the figure hasn't ever come. So that's my argument with him all the time. I know it's the wrong argument, but it's still funny to argue. So
I think it's a good argument.
I
It
think
makes sense to me.
I think his farmer look. I'd rather have Galen's farmer look than those Imperial looks. I don't know why. To me, the iconic look for him is when, he's hiding Jin when he's helping hide her, and I don't know why, but it's cool. I think it's cool that they're doing him, because for a while Star Wars was getting the same characters over and over, and I do think it's cool that they're getting more characters to fill out like a display. I was gonna mention it with Balin, that I didn't, because I didn't want it to go longer than it needed to be. But I think the one cool thing about Balin is that if you only collect Star Wars, then I would say it's worth it to get it, because otherwise you're just getting a bunch of Darth Vaders and Troopers and Lukes, like the same thing over and over. And you could really flesh out a display with the amount of characters you're getting these days for Star Wars. So that's cool.
There is a bit of an element, though, Eddie, and kind of to touch on that point quickly, is like I hear a lot of collectors say we want more side characters. We don't always want the same main ones. But then when the side characters do come out, a lot of us are like, who actually wants that? I would never
'Cause they
buy
suck.
it. I wouldn't pay $300 for that. So it's like, I don't know. Like, it's like we have to pick a lane, I feel like, up to a
I'm
certain
trying to be
extent,
nice,
but-
and you're gonna make me go back to the. That's because the reason we get all those same characters over and over, because they're the coolest thing from Star Wars. Like, all those other characters suck, dude.
Side characters would be great, but they literally didn't give us like one of the main characters of this show. So
That's the right point. That's the right point.
why?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
As collectors, we should all rise up and nobody purchase this thing until they give us Cassian.
Nobody purchased
Let's
this.
start a movement.
Wouldn't that be great if we could do that?
I'm kind of interested in it from a point of view that, as far as I'm aware, this is only the second time that Hot Toys have done the grey outfit, and Tarkin was the only other example. And I'd like to have another. I wouldn't care whether it was Galen or not. The head sculpt, I can sell that on, but I would like to pick up another Imperial suit. But obviously, if it's not going to be it's probably not going to be cheap if it's limited. Because I've sort of been putting together a General Veers custom, and I've used the transport trooper suit for the moment, but he does actually wear like the proper officer's uniform, and then he has the armor on top. So I'd like to get hold of another outfit, but I couldn't care less about the actual figure, the character.
That's true. I never realized he wears the same belt in both looks. It's kind of interesting. Like he just I'll exchange my outfit, but I'm bringing my belt. 100%.
He loves that belt.
He loves that belt. I'd also be curious if we're going to see any Rogue One reissues. I know it's a lot of those figures are kind of known as grails at this point, especially Jin. I think it would be interesting to see if we see any of those.
And you've still got
return.
the one they didn't release, the guy with the big minigun.
Base.
Yeah.
Base.
Yeah, interesting. Guys, last but not least on the show sheet for today, Catwoman has been put up for pre-order by Jazzinc. We had the worldwide pre-order go up the other day. I guess that was Thursday of this past week. Lots of SKUs on this one, or SKUs as Marco
SKUs.
would say. For me, I had a really hard time deciding, and I did hear a really good point made. I personally feel like I like the battle damaged look the most, and I don't really totally know if I need 2 figures in my display. I also am starting to run out of display space a little bit, and while I think that the diorama display that comes with this is freaking awesome, I'm like, the 2-pack is really expensive, and it takes up a lot of space, and I don't know if I need 2 of them. So I've heard some people out there make the recommendation that if you truly want both looks, that you'd actually be better off going with both of the standard releases instead, so the basic of both version, because ultimately it would be cheaper. You would only get the one look of the head sculpt, you wouldn't get the display base, but you'd at least have both versions of the character in your display, and I thought that was actually pretty good advice. I personally made the purchase decision to go in on the deluxe battle damage, though. I do like her multiple sculpts, and I am excited to get the new Batman Returns figure from Hot Toys with the torn off cowl look. So I think those both being battle damaged in the display will look freaking awesome. And that's the one I decided to go with ultimately. I do feel like I'm getting the fear of missing out a little bit, not getting that clean version as of right now, or the backdrop. But I also don't really feel like I needed it. How did you guys feel like the pre-order went for you guys this week? Did anybody decide to go in on either or any of these SKUs? If so, what was your choice, or what was your rationale for your decision? Anybody can go first. Did any of you guys No?
Okay.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I haven't ordered it. I was excited to see it, and I think it's great. And I have pre-ordered the Returns 2.0. I just thought it was quite... I know it looks great, and there's a lot there and everything, but I felt it was quite expensive. I think it was $3.15, I think, for the basic clean version, but then you've got to add... Here we'd have to add VAT, so that's another 20% on top of that, and then shipping was estimated maybe £50 to the UK, and that's a bit bad because we're not that far from the Netherlands, to be fair. So it suddenly got up to kind of well over $400, and I just kind of thought I don't know, I didn't feel comfortable pulling the trigger, and I like you, Ben. I don't think I would have had a really hard decision choosing between the basic clean and the basic battle damage. So I kind of, I regret it down the line possibly, but I kind of chose sort of not to go down this route. But I'll be interested to see what the rest of the panel ended up doing.
Yeah, for sure. Dave, what about you, buddy? What are your thoughts on Catwoman?
I'm all in on it. I'm going big time with this one. Because we needed a Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman, and finally here she is. And while I will say I'm not a fan of the fact that we don't have a fully unmasked sculpt, I understand the reasoning behind that. I get it, though I still want to see it. But the thing is I can't choose. I can't choose a battle damaged or a clean because I want both. I have scenarios where I need one or the other. Like I want to have her licking Batman's face. It's gonna happen. I want to have her all jacked up with the Batman Returns figures coming out with the cowl ripped off. It's gonna happen. I want the diorama. It's gonna happen. Like I want it. I'm gonna get it. I'm going for it. I'm doing it. Yeah, it sucks not being able to buy it directly. That really sucks. It costs a little bit more going through Kit. Not terribly more.
No.
It's more, but it's not as much as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I think there wasn't much difference. Once I added the VAT on and the shipping, it was probably pretty much the same as me ordering direct from. Yeah,
just about. Yeah. So I think it's a win. I think it's a win no matter which way you go with it. I think it's gonna be good. I was debating getting just the battle damage, the deluxe, But then I was like, well, I'm still gonna want it clean too. So I had to get both. And you're gonna have a seamless body underneath. People keep talking about Hot Toys, how they're gonna come up and make one just because. And I believe that because they're being a bunch of bitches about a lot of shit. But I don't want a Hot Toys Catwoman over. I don't want that regular body under the suit with all the weird joint gaps. I don't want that. I'm not here for that. I want the seamless body under the suit so it doesn't look freaking weird when you got, one leg a little bit too high and then you got a weird butt cheek underneath where your freaking thigh is supposed to be. I hate that so much. I hate that. So this is it. This is for me. I'm all the way in, and I want to invest in what Yoast is doing because I want to see what else they're going to do because no one else is doing a lot of the stuff that they're doing. And I want them to do the things that they want to do. Yes, exactly. I want them to do that. I want them to do more 66 figures. I want that. So, yes, I'm going to put my money on this because I want to see them take it further.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting thoughts. Fad Gadget kind of highlighted what you were saying there, Dave, as well as saying Hot Toys are just finishing off their unmasked artisan Catwoman to go with their Batman Returns 2.0, complete with die-cast birdcage. Wouldn't totally surprise me. It was actually part of the calculus that I made with picking just a singular figure, because what I did find was when I did the all-in art 2-pack with the rooted hair and the jail cell and all of those things, I was pretty excited about it until I got it in my display and realized I didn't really want to display both Jokers. Now, I do have them both displayed behind me because I had the space, but over time, I know that my space is going to get more limited, and I'll ultimately end up probably boxing up one of those figures and sitting them in there. But the other part of it that burned my ass a little bit was when Hot Toys did give us the Artisan Heath Ledger Joker, I kind of liked that figure too, and part of me was interested in getting that one at the same time, but I definitely didn't need... 4 Jokers, because I even have the DX11 still from originally. So I would literally be like a Marco and have more than my fair share of Jokers, right? And so that was part of my calculus in that decision of, do I need the big one, or should I get the one that's battle damage that I do think looks good? And if Hot Toys does give us maybe a clean version, also look at that as a potential secondary. Mike, did you have any calculus with regards to this figure this week? Was this something that was kind of on your radar?
Yeah, certainly on the radar. Short answer to your question, I don't think I'm going to get it. There's just too many unanswered things for me to kind of commit this money to. One of which I wanted to bring up. I don't know if you guys noticed during when the pre-order opened, somebody had pointed out that the way they made this suit, which is accurate to the way they made the screen accurate suit, was that all the stitching is actually on a separate piece of material and then glued to the main suit. It's not actual stitching. So as soon as that kind of was pointed out, Yost acknowledged it, and then a lot of people are like, I don't like that, I don't like this, started a whole conversation. So he then flopped on how he was going to do it, I believe, and decided that he's going to do it with the actual stitching. So I guess my first point to that being, again, so many unanswered questions. Like, this thing's up for pre-order, and he's still making changes based on comments in the groups. And then also, whichever way they choose to do that stitching, how is that going to hold up when you try and pose these things with the legs and stuff? Like, if you're now stitching into this material, is it going to be more likely to tear? Or if it's the separate piece that's glued on, is that going to start coming off? For this price, too many unknowns. I hope it works out, and I hope it's fantastic, and I hope I'm the one, kicking myself for missing it. But there's just too much that I just don't trust with the figure. It's not with the company, not with their intentions, but as a first out of the gate, too many new things that they're trying that I just can't trust it because they don't have the track record. So I'm gonna pass, but I'll definitely be watching closely to see where this all goes, because it's definitely interesting, and it's a hot topic right now.
Interesting thought. Eddie, I'd be curious, because I know you've been both kind of a statue collector and follower as well as a figure collector. Do you, like Mike mentioned, the trust there with regards to this figure? They haven't really earned the trust yet because this is technically their first licensed figure. A lot of people had some pretty hot takes on their original unlicensed Vulture figure that had come out. But I would also argue that InArt didn't really have the trust of collectors in 6 scale either. They had made some great statues, But do you feel like the trust that InArt got for their figure was more than what Jazz is getting? Do you feel like it's kind of similar? Why do you feel like collectors aren't willing to trust Jazz on this one? Because I will say that I don't think Jazz can afford to fail here. If they do, they'll never be able to make another 6 scale again, because people will tear them a new ass, and that'll be it. Like it'll tank that line. So they have to nail it, in my opinion. But what are your thoughts, Eddie?
I think it's fair to say that people were very, very, but people didn't exactly just trust InArt. There was a lot of hate on that Joker. A lot of people were saying like, this is their first figure, how do we know it's going to be this good? And then it just came out that good. So I don't feel like people just trusted InArt. But also there was no distrust in InArt because they hadn't messed up. Jazzinc messes up. Everybody just loves what they do so much that they let it go, or that they don't care to talk about it because of how much people like Yost. And it's like, I get it. He's a cool guy, and I appreciate what he does for the people that want it. Like Dave said, like he's making things people want, and he's in the community, and I like that he does it with his sons and his dad or whatever. Like it's a loving story, and we all want to love it because of that. But I do feel like, first of all, I feel like his stuff is overpriced, and I don't see I don't get why it warrants those prices, other than like, well, it's very, there's not a lot made. I get it. It's very detailed stuff, like whatever. I still feel it's overpriced, and I still feel like there's not enough trust there after something turns out not great to warrant that price. But that's my biggest problem with it, is like, I think people love this character so much that they're not thinking about any of that, and they're just like, I want this character, it's being done, there's a lot of stuff with it, it's cool, let me get it. And then people are more accepting of this high price now because of InArt. You guys, this isn't an InArt figure. Like, I threw down because of what I've seen InArt do already. Why would I throw down $1,000 on this? Because he says it's going to be good and because it looks pretty? Like, I agree with Mike. Like, the stitching is a bad call because I don't think it'll work in that scale. I think it's going to rip. And maybe that'll help. Maybe you could argue, there'll always be an argument like, oh, well, she's damaged anyway. Like, it could work. Like, okay, fine, whatever. I don't think that hair is going to come out that good looking on the figure. I think it's going to come out much more like frayed and like doll looking, and it's going to look dumb. To me, that's what this is a personal opinion. I don't think it's going to come out looking like that.
Have they said what they're going to use for the hair? Is it going to be synthetic, or is it going to be like a real wool?
I don't remember. Anybody on the chat, if you guys know, I can't remember now, unfortunately.
And I'm surprised so many people are going for the battle damage look and not talking about the clean, because the open mouth with the tongue out is iconic scene that you could do posing her that way. Like, that's why I did kind of want this, and I was contemplating getting it, but just because of all the open stuff up in the air and open questions with Jazzinc, like, I don't think I'm willing to risk that much money on all of that unanswered stuff the same way Mike is. But I would be very torn between one or the other, just because there's super iconic stuff that you could do with both. So I'm like, oh man. But yeah, I don't know. To me, he's very bold, just coming out with these prices, and everybody's just agreeing with him. And I don't get how people. It's because he's such in the community that I feel like people let it go. But if it was InArt doing it, people would have way more questions about it, and not trust it even more, I think. But it is what it is.
I will say he is an easy person to root for, because he does seem very likable. I haven't had a chance to interact with him directly or personally myself, but from the interactions I've seen, he does seem very honest. He does seem like he cares. He does seem like he actually genuinely does want to make a good product for people. He does seem like a fan as well. And I do like the fact that he's willing to say when things go wrong and kind of come out with his own videos and actually like address things up to a certain extent. Yes, have there been some fuck ups? Yeah, maybe, for sure. But like, I do think that he has owned up to some of those things and tried to control a message a little bit better than what some companies are willing to do. One of my biggest criticisms of InArt is John, but not because I don't like John. I don't know him either personally, but they don't set him up for success very often. Like, they send him out to talk to us all without answers to any questions. So at first he was a very likable person and really seemingly like he cared, but he keeps going away saying, I'll get the answer to that. And then we just never really get the answer to that. So they have not set him up for success. And ultimately that's eroded my trust in InArt over time. Whereas I still feel like I'm willing to give Jazz the benefit of the doubt here, because again, I don't think they can afford to fail. If they put this out and it bankrupts them because otherwise it's just not a good figure, they'll never be able to get away from that stain. They just never will be able to get away from it. Whereas InArt could still fold up shop and still just go back to Queen Studios statues and call it a day. This would actually put a bad mark on Jazz's whole business, which has started out as that vehicle manufacturing. And you talk about price point, Eddie, but I also think that, Jazzinc with their prices, they were like the best game in town when it came to vehicles. So if they're the best game in town, they can charge the best game in town prices. But they've got a lot of competition with regards to 6 scale figures. So again, in order to justify this price point, it better come out amazing, or else I think they will lose the trust of collectors.
If it didn't come out amazing, though, would it even be talked about, or would it be justified? That's the thing, is like,
true.
I think a lot of their vehicles come out amazing looking, but then the lights stop working, the wiring stops working, and nobody says anything, and they're just like, oh, well, I had to figure it out. And there's no way to rewire those vehicles easily unless you are good at that kind of stuff. So it's like, would it even, if it did come out shitty, would people talk about it? Or would people just be like, oh, well, it was his first figure, people just glance over it.
Hard to say. Yeah, it's hard to say, because I do think that there are fans. I think there's influencers. I think there's a couple of those groups that would say, oh, like, they give them the pass. And I do think that there would still be lots of people who are willing to put them on blast a little bit, right? Just like they do with the vehicles. But I've also seen, again, going back to those vehicles, things like offering full refunds if you're not happy, and like replacement parts and actual communication from Jazz himself, or from Yost, I should say, from him himself, which is above and beyond other companies. So again, I'm not trying to cheerlead him. I'm also not trying to throw him under the bus. I think I am still ultimately very excited to see what happens here. I'm hoping that I'm really excited about my figure when it comes in, because I really like Catwoman. I love Batman Returns. I think it's going to go very, very well with my figure display, hopefully. And if not, we'll certainly rake them over the coals here on Let's Get Nuts, if and when the time is required to do so. But guys, that is it for the show today. We have a whopping 71 people still watching us live. Thank you so much for getting nuts with us today on the Ben Thomas Show. Of course, if you are here and for some reason you are not subscribed to the channel, please do so. It definitely helps support the show and all of my friends here that are on the panel. Again, some housekeeping. These are our membership emojis. I did forget to put that chat or that link in the channel there earlier, so I will in a couple moments. But if you are interested, these are our membership emojis, as well as the badges that go beside all of the names of our Tough Nut crew. Let me give you guys a quick shout out, being Alvin J, Collecting Weekly, Money Mendez, 6 Scale Mafia, Katera, Feezy's Figures, King Dingaling, Sith Scale Collector, Paul Schreiber, The Batman, The Movie Canon, 1/6 Figure Focus, SpongeBob Square Balls, Rogue One Photography, Peter Cass, Ryan Smith, Collector Joey, Sam Gist, Jose G, Hernandez, 12-inch Moose Dream, Collection Obsession, Blurred Dad Life, Mr. Inc., Rachel Miller, Honest Hansel, Action in the Box, Figure Craft, Neilerific, Action Figure Academy, X-Men Supreme, Dom Maton, Kenneth Jacobson, Valkyrie Magnus, Adrian Cervantes, Alex Serrato, Christopher Balzano, Pop Culture Relics, 1 Adam 12, Evil Sneaker, Trevor Weed, and as Dean would say, Big Rib. You love to see it. Thank you so much for being wonderful channel members and supporting the show, guys. I appreciate you all. As far as my panel goes, thank you guys for being here and supporting the Let's Get Nuts show on a Sunday once again. Pete, I'll go to you because I know it's late for you first. I know you've had a couple of weeks away from Only Fools and Collecting. I know you're saying you were just wanting to jump back in and get warmed up again panel-wise. Is there anything else going on for you, buddy, that you're excited about, either online or even just in life that you want to
just my ever I need to get my collection video filmed and sorted out, and I just keep procrastinating on that one. So I do aim to do that in the next few months, because I kind of there might be 1 or 2 figures coming, depending on if like if Wonka actually releases this year, I'm starting to doubt that. Other bits and pieces. So yeah, that's all really. We haven't spoken about when we come back for OFAC. I imagine that I'd like to do a Christmas episode, even if that's kind of like, we don't immediately carry on straight from there. But so it's nice to get back online with you guys, and hopefully see you back with OFAC at some point. But don't know yet.
That's okay. Well, stay tuned. Keep us posted, buddy. Obviously, you're always welcome here, man. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Always. Appreciate your take. Sorry for my British accent in that video. I hope we're
what made you go with a British accent? What was the thing?
I always feel like the announcers are always British. Whenever I watch those shows, or like the reels and everything, they're always.
I guess if you're watching it via the BBC, then they would be.
Yeah. That's it. I usually watch a lot of BBC. I like the Canadian channels have a lot of British folks too. So to me, it just. I don't know, something about a British voice.
We can work on that.
Professional commentator. You want me to, it just screams professional commentator to me. So
I also have all that for you.
My mom is also British. All my family is British. I'm the only one in my family who doesn't actually have much of an accent, so I try, but it's not good. Okay. It's not good.
Keep working on it.
We'll keep working on it. Dean the Dream Martin, my friend, good to see you here again. Thank you for being here as always, my friend. Of course, Collecting Weekly is doing wild numbers on terms of subscribers and great viewership. Anything coming up for you, buddy, that I am not aware of, or anything in life that you're just excited about, good sir?
I don't think so. I think tomorrow we have an unboxing possibly with Lane. Tuesday we'll have the main show again with half of you beauties. Wednesday will be After Dark.
What half are you hoping for?
Thursday I am doing a show with Chris Porteous for the movie night. We're doing Dread with Carl Urban.
Nice.
Because that movie is
great movie.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. So tune into that. It'll just be me and Chris, I think. So. Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. A guy says Ben loves the BBC. Well, I don't know. Don't tell Katara.
It's his favorite genre.
It's my favorite genre. Good to have you back, buddy. Thanks for being here, man, as always. Anytime. You're welcome here. Anytime. Mr. Eddie Money Mendez, you rallied. You got through the tired. Great points today, buddy. Great work. Anything coming up for you that you're excited about in life this week in your world?
I don't know about in life. Streaming life, I got a couple things going on. It's not that exciting, but it's going on. I'm streaming with Geo after this, actually, on the Movie Canon. We're gonna his weekly Sunday show. I'll be on there. It starts at 6 Pacific time, and then same as usual for the rest of the week. Tuesday CW, and then maybe Sunday next week. Actually, next week I'll be out of town, man. So no Sunday next week. But yeah, anytime I can, I'll join. And it was a good one. Hopefully, people don't get too upset about those Jazzinc takes. I just try to be honest with what I see, dude. So.
So far, nobody's actually got upset by anything we've said on Let's Get Nuts. Knock on wood. We're at episode 56 right now, and nobody's ever been like, that was a horrible take. You need to stop getting nuts on Sundays. Because I think
we got to try harder.
We're all filled with nut love, and honestly, we're just here to have.
I tried, man. I tried. All right.
Love.
You're not filled with nut love. Oh, okay. Well,
maybe not.
Full of nut.
No.
Fair. Dave, X-Men Supreme. Sounds like you're going to be on Geo's show later today. Anything else coming up for you, buddy, that you're excited about in life that you wanted to share with us before we wrap?
In life, excited? Well, no, just more figures. I got my friggin' mono shipment email.
Oh, nice.
Well, the invoice. So maybe that will be shipping this week, and I'll finally get those. I got 2 of them on order, so hopefully I'll see those in the next couple of weeks. That'll be great because I can finally clear all my Marvel stuff off that shelf and put my Batmobile there, and that'll be fantastic. But other than that, I'm gonna be hanging out with Eddie and Geo in a little while. We're gonna be doing all that, talking about some spooky stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, man. Aside from that, just livening it up. Just grateful to be a part of the community, to be able to be on these shows with you guys, talk to these awesome dudes with these awesomely wild takes. I love it. Friggin' Eddie is always an adventure, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
Love to see it, buddy. Always welcome to have you here, man. Thanks so much for being here and having some fun, getting crazy with us as always, for sure. And Noble Young, you've been paying attention. I appreciate that, good sir. He says, I always thought you were Irish, Ben. Mainly because I'm friends with an Irish person in Shane, but not the case. But my grandma is Irish. My grandma was Irish, I should say. And my nan, or my other grandma, was British. So I have a bit of split on me. Both very feisty little old ladies, that's for sure. But I can run with both packs for sure. But Mike, you've done a great job taking over the 6th spot on Collecting Weekly lately. I think you've really added a groove to your seat, man. I'm always happy to see you there, and I know for a lot of the time you helped to replace me and Marco anytime we were being flaky and couldn't show up, and now you're coming more often, and I appreciate that. Is there anything you're excited about, good sir, in life, in the online interwebs, or anything that you wanted to chat about before we wrap today?
Well, I appreciate the kind words. First, let me say I have not taken over the 6th seat. That will always belong to our man Badfish. So I'm a 6B or 7 if you ever need to go that far. But no, happy to do it. It's been awesome. I was also talking with Chris about potential movie nights, so may jump on there with Dean to talk Dread. Or if not, maybe we'll do another one. But beyond that, man, this is awesome. I love just getting on here with you guys and just talking about some of this ridiculous stuff that we love. So thanks for having me.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Happy to have you here. Make sure if you were on CW long enough, you get Dean and Zach to knight you. It's a secret ceremony that happens behind a black curtain. It's quite nice.
I'm pretty convinced that Dean's trying to kick me out, but
for sure. But guys, with that said, that is it for the day. Again, thank you to my panelists. Thank you to the chat, everybody that watched, everybody that's going to watch on replay. It's definitely appreciated. Make sure you guys comment on all of the takes that we had today. I love reading your comments after the show. It brings me some joy. But otherwise, I will always say this, Eddie. I think it goes at least without saying that we got nuts. Thanks for watching, everybody.
What a great audience. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Because subscribing makes you feel good.
Where should I go? What should I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. It's gone. It's all gone.